Chapter 1209, would you? As one of 7 great clans of the ancient star system, the moon-devouring clan controlled a vast star field. Their ancestor had once obtained great merits, so the status of the moon-devouring clan was very high. There were also 3 of them that became elders of the sovereign union, which allowed them to have countless years of glory. In the southern part of the moon-devouring clan, there was a forbidden land that no one was allowed to enter. There was also heavy protection around this area, and only certain people in the clan could enter this place to cultivate. There were 9 giant statues in this forbidden location. These were statues of 9 ancient gods. Each statue had an old man sitting on top. They were holding strange seals and seemed to be forcibly absorbing the power of the ancient gods from the statues. Since ancient times, after they betrayed the ancient gods, the moon god had always tried to find way to take the power of the ancient gods. They hoped to one day wash away the humiliation of the past and make the ancient god slaves of the moon-devouring clan. In order to achieve this, the entire moon-devouring clan spent all their efforts and research for countless years before they finally found a method to devour ancient gods. However, this method contained great flaws and dangers. Even to this day, no one had succeeded. The 9 elders on the 9 ancient god statues were all the most talented members of the moon-devouring clan, and they had shocking power. This was the only reason they were allowed to attempt to cultivate here. Everything went on calmly. This place was completely calm and was almost like the realm of the dead. However, at this moment, the youth from the moon-devouring clan summoned the ancient god Shadow in the 7-colored realm, and Wang Lin gave the command as a royal ancient god to annul the ancient covenant. Thunderous rumbles came from the 9 ancient god statues and cracks covered the statues. This sudden change caused the 9 people who were cultivating to awaken from their cultivation. They were shocked, terrified, and filled with confusion. They had no idea what was happening. However, the change didn't end. The moment the 9 of them flew up, one of the ancient god statues suddenly collapsed, and the ancient god power inside dissipated into the world. At the same time, the second ancient god statue trembled, and more cracks appeared on it. In the blink of an eye, it turned to dust and disappeared under the dumbfounded gazes of the 9 cultivators. Seeing that the remaining 7 statues were collapsing as well, their expressions changed greatly. Do whatever it takes to stop these slave statues from collapsing. A heaven-shaking voice swept by with an unimaginable divine sense. An old man who gave off an ancient aura and was wearing a moon robe arrived from the distance. He waved his hand, and the sky became covered in moonlight. The moon-devouring clan was extremely arrogant to even dare to call the ancient gods slaves. Although the ancient gods weren't really their slaves, it was easy to see the desire of the clan. Several powerful auras rushed over from the distance. What exactly happened? This was the terrifying question that appeared in the heart of every moon-devouring clan member that arrived. The old man wearing the moon robe looked up at the void and said as he gnashed his teeth, "An ancient royal god has annulled the ancient covenant." However, hidden deep in his eyes was fear and panic that became stronger and stronger. Launch I. Wang Lin don't know what had happened in the ancient star system outside the sealed realm. The wailing gradually weakened until it eventually disappeared. The body of the youth of the moon-devouring clan turned into blood that dripped down to the ground from Xianxia's skeleton. This youth's bones had completely shattered and scattered everywhere. Only 2 pieces of bone remained. They were pinned down by the 7-colored nails. Wang Lin didn't pay attention to any of this. His gaze fell on the vermilion bird, and he felt the fire become even more intense. In the end, the vermilion bird let out an earth-shattering cry before it rushed down and entered Wang Lin's left eye. At this instant, a sea of fire appeared around Wang Lin and filled this entire space. He immediately moved and left this place. After leaving through the spatial crack, he arrived at the top of the mountain under the time restriction and immediately sat down. The 7-colored light fell from the sky, but it immediately began to distort as if it was burning. It was unexpectedly being forced back by the temperature of the fire inside Wang Lin's body. Wang Lin's left eye gave off a shocking fire. This fire was red at first, but it soon turned white. This caused Wang Lin's left eye to turn almost completely white. The vermilion bird was about to awaken for the 3rd time. After absorbing the feather in Peng Lai and devouring the firebird ancestral spirit, the fire sparrow clan member had summoned. The 3rd vermilion bird awakening had arrived. At this moment, The seven-colored light continued to be pushed back, and a heat wave spread out with Wang Lin as the center. The time restriction had already recovered, but due to the seal, it made the temperature here become even higher. The crimson-red armor around Wang Lin absorbed the heat coming from his body. Monstrous flames filled the surroundings. These burning flames seemed to be competing with the heavens. The vermilion bird was the being that controlled all the fire in the world. No one knew where it came from, but legend had it that when the world was born, it contained 5 elements. The vermilion bird was born from the fire element. Today, whether the legend was true or not no longer mattered. The important thing was that the vermilion bird clan had existed since ancient times. They were born from fire and never extinguished. This clan cultivated the power of fire and had the mark of the vermilion bird on their bodies. Every awakening of the mark meant the metamorphosis of the vermilion bird, and it represented the heaven-shaking power of fire. In ancient times, the first vermilion bird awakening wasn't uncommon, but as time passed, due to the diluting bloodline, fewer and fewer people awakened. There is no need to even talk about people who awakened a second time. It was rare even in the ancient times, and now even more so. Anyone who had awakened twice would be able to shock any vermilion bird clan member. However, compared to the third awakening, it was like comparing the firefly to the moon. The third awakening seemed to have disappeared. Only in ancient primal times did there seem to be a few with shocking talent that reached this realm. However, no one knew if it was true or not. Those who awakened 3 times were like the fire spirits of the world, and they controlled all fire. At this moment, Wang Lin was going through his third awakening. The temperature of the fire inside the restriction became higher and higher. The space inside began to fragment, as if it couldn't withstand the flames. The vermilion bird armor seemed to melt. It was as if this armor couldn't withstand the heat coming from Wang Lin's body. The armor melted into liquid, but it didn't fall. Instead, it was absorbed by Wang Lin's body. Launch I! The sea of flames that came out from Wang Lin's body increased until it filled the entire area within the restriction. At first the fire was red, but as it burned, all the fire inside the restriction turned white. This white fire contained the power to destroy the world. The moment it appeared, it caused large amounts of black gas to appear from the mountain beneath him as if it was being refined. Before the black gas could spread, it dissipated due to the impact of the fire. One could only see the mountain shrink and begin to collapse. Cracks even appeared on the stone gate on the mountain. The young woman in green trembled and was turned into gas. She disappeared without a trace. What was even more shocking was what happened to the beast's soul sealed by the 7 light. Some of the light collapsed and the beast's soul inside was burned to death. However, the beast's Dao intent didn't dissipate, and it fused with the fire. As a result, this caused the fire to seem like it contained will. It wasn't just one will, but countless wills, but in the end they would all be something under Wang Lin's control. In just a moment, the mountain completely collapsed. Even the rubble was burnt to nothing. Only the rank 12 and 13 beast souls were lucky enough to survive, due to the 7-colored light around them. The moment the mountain collapsed, the temperature of the fire reached a new peak. Under the powerful impact of the fire, the weakest point of the time restriction, which was the crack, wasn't able to withstand it anymore and was torn open. The fire seemed to find a place to vent, and it immediately rushed out of the crack. In an instant, it began burning the restriction. As the thunderous rumbles echoed, the time restriction turned into a burning ball of fire and immediately collapsed. The moment it collapsed, the world was shocked. Large amounts of fire rushed out and spread across the 7-colored realm. In the mountain in the depths of the realm, the white-haired old man suddenly opened his eyes and became filled with shock. He quickly got up and looked toward where Wang Lin was. In the ancient star system, in the palace that was floating among the boundless stars, it was no longer bright. Only the floating jades gave off a gentle light that seemed to light up the temple. The temple was completely quiet to a terrifying degree. However, at this moment, one of the candlesticks suddenly lit up. The fire flickered, causing the temple to alternate between bright and dark, making the temple even more gloomy. The more prosperous the fire, the more delicious the soul will be. A mumbling voice echoed as an old withered finger appeared next to the fire and pointed at it. This made the fire burn even more brightly. However, the location of the owner of the finger was somewhere not even the candlestick could light up. Are you not afraid that this prosperous fire will burn your finger? A second voice echoed in the temple. These words were very cold. Would it the finger extended into the fire? allowing the candle to burn it. At the same time, deep within the seven-colored realm, the old man's pupils shrank. He seemed to have been given an order, and he charged toward Wang Lin's location. Mid-month already, brothers. Do you have likes for the VIDE already? Don't hold back, wishing for those likes. Chapter 1210, Blue Vermilion Bird. The mountain where Wang Lin was at had disappeared, and only a few orbs of seven-colored light surrounding the beast souls remained. The fire burned endlessly, causing the seven-colored lights to flicker. They seemed like they could break at any moment. The restriction around the area shattered into countless burning fragments and pushed outwards. Even the endless fog inside the mountain range was torn apart by the fire and completely dissipated. For the first time in countless years, the fog disappeared from this mountain range. The enlightened ones inside the fog floated in the air, resisting the fire. The valleys outside the mountain range were covered in fire and turned into a fiery hell. Waves of burning and popping sounds shook the earth. The mountains around the valleys collapsed one by one into burning gravel. At this moment, inside a valley, the old woman in green was pale and terrified. Her hands kept forming seals and placing down restrictions to resist the fire. Outside the valley was the outer region of the seven-colored realm where the fierce beasts were. During this time, Chen Tianjun was going from beast to beast, taking great risks to carefully search for origin crystals. Although he possessed the spells of the Battle Beast sect, obtaining the origin crystals from these rank 12 beasts was no different than taking a tooth from the mouth of a tiger. It was very dangerous, and he had almost died several times. He was currently flying away from a fog beast. His heart was pounding as he quickly flew off into the distance. A roar came out from the fog behind him, and a gust of wind charged after him. Just at this instant, the horizon turned white and the seven-colored light dissipated. Then an unimaginable heat wave came from the horizon. From a distance, it looked like a heaven-shaking scene. The fog beast chasing Chen Tianjun was startled for a moment. Then it immediately gave up chasing Chen Tianjun and returned to the fog. Just at this instant, the white sea of flames surrounded the area and the entire outer realm was devoured by the white flames. The sea of flames only avoided Chen Tianjun, and he was not affected by the heat wave. He stood there dumbfounded and soaked in sweat. He trembled as he could clearly feel that he wouldn't be able to last long in this heat. He also felt Wang Lin's aura inside the sea of flames. The flames continued to spread until they completely surrounded the outer area of the seven-colored realm. Some of the beasts charged out and roared. They didn't seem to be afraid of the flames. There were fire python-like fire beasts that moved in the flames without any discomfort. They even seemed to hold a bit of contempt toward the flames. When the flames spread across the entire seven-colored realm, the vermilion bird's third awakening began. As Wang Lin sat there, his ancient god flesh became dry, as if all the water in his body had evaporated. The dry skin looked like it was aging. It was a shocking scene. The fire around his body was the strongest. Endless heat came out from his body, forming a vortex that slowly rotated above him. A painful cry came from his body. The white vermilion bird struggled to fly up. It seemed the third awakening was a test and a crisis for it. Wang Lin's mind was blank. He seemed to have become a vermilion bird. The fire seed inside its body continued to release endless heat, but the more it released, the more heat it had. In the end, it seemed like it was going to burn itself. He had a feeling he would be burned to ashes if he was just a bit slow in releasing the heat. This was an endless cycle. The more heat he released, the more heat there was. This cycle continued, and the vermilion bird let out an earth-shattering cry, like the fierce roar before death. Wang Lin hadn't experienced this feeling during the two awakenings from before. The third time was extremely difficult. He felt like the heat from his body was even burning his origin soul, which surprised Wang Lin. He didn't think the vermilion bird's third awakening would be so different. The heat increased to the point where his body couldn't release it fast enough. The burning feeling became more clearer, and the skin on his body became even more chapped. The cracks connected together, making it seem like his skin was going to collapse. Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes and let out a roar as if he wanted to release all the heat inside his body. A powerful heat wave came out from his mouth during his painful roar. The heat wave circled around him, and every hair on his body struggled against the heat wave. Vermilion bird awakening vermilion bird Wang Lin's consciousness became a bit blurry. He was now releasing heat by instinct. However, this method could only hold it off for a moment. It would not deal with the root of the problem. If this continued, Wang Lin would without a doubt die. His eyes were bloodshot and revealed a crazed look. I'll either burn to death or be reborn in the fire. Wang Lin believed in perseverance and hard work with a powerful defying will. The more intense the flames were, the more powerful his defying will became. Since I can continue to vent, then I want vent it. I'll let it stay inside my body. I want to see what this fire can do. Wang Lin let out a painful laugh and his expression became even more crazy. He locked all the pores on his body, closing it off from the outside. He let the heat inside his body to increase like crazy and didn't let a sliver of it out. This crazed courage seemed simple, but how many people in the world could actually do this? When Wang Lin sealed himself, the fire inside his body increased to a terrifying degree. The temperature was so high after he sealed his body that he was going to collapse, but he endured it all. Time slowly passed. The heat inside his body became even more intense. His entire body was red and white, causing the world around him to collapse. At this moment, the fire inside Wang Lin's body reached a peak and suddenly exploded in his body. An indescribable heat rushed out, burning his body. He was covered in flames, making it impossible to see his body. These flames started out white and gradually turned blue. The moment the blue flames appeared, they immediately spread out. The blue flames were much hotter than the white flames, and they replaced everything in the world. As they spread in all directions, they caused the entire world to turn blue. The blue flames swept across the realm, and the entire seven-colored realm turned into a blue flame hell in an instant. The place filled with fierce beasts was originally filled with white flames, but in an instant, the white flames disappeared and were replaced with a demonic blue light. The blue light flashed by, and all the white flames turned blue. The fierce beasts that didn't mind the flames and those that showed their might were all terrified. They quickly turned into fog to resist it. They seemed to be extremely afraid of these blue flames. Those fire pythons that revealed disdain immediately began to roar. They quickly turned into fog to resist. One of the fire pythons was a bit slow and was suddenly surrounded by blue light. The python let out a painful cry as it was burned to death. Its soul was absorbed by the flames and became a part of its will. There were very few flames that could burn a fire beast equal to a peak nirvana shatter or cultivator. As the blue flames spread even more, the caves and the valleys collapsed. The restrictions were so fragile before the flames. At this moment, the entire seven-colored realm was burning. The blue flames seemed to be roaring at the world. In the depths of the seven-colored realm, the white-haired old man started rushing toward Wang Lin. He was fast, but when he got close to Wang Lin, his expression changed greatly. He saw a heaven-shaking blue light before him as the blue flames rushed at him like an angry wave. The old man's expression turned pale, then his hands quickly formed a seal and he took out a magic treasure. Thanks to these actions, he was lucky enough to survive the blue flames. However, sweat covered his forehead and the aghast in his eyes revealed how terrified he was. What is this fire? He had seen many things during his life as a cultivator, but he had never seen blue flames like these. These flames could destroy the body of a nirvana shatterer cultivator and burn their origin soul. These flames shocked the white-haired old man greatly. At the source of the blue flames, where Wang Lin was sitting, the blue light was heaven-shaking, making it impossible for any other color to appear. Within these indescribably beautiful blue flames, the cry of a vermilion bird echoed. The moment the vermilion bird cry echoed, a blue vermilion bird appeared within the flames as if it was just reborn. The moment it appeared, all the blue flames in the seven-colored realm went crazy as if they were cheering. Under the blue vermilion bird, a slender figure walked out one step at a time. The vermilion bird's third awakening was like being reborn in fire. At this moment, far away from the Cloud Sea in the forbidden area of the Alliance where the Four Divine Sect was located, all the vermilion bird Divine Sect members felt the fire inside their bodies burn like crazy. For the first time, they lost control of the flames, and they rushed about their bodies and surrounded them. Mid-month and it's been forgotten. Hoping for the like button for the video, tears start to flow. Is there still time? Chapter 1211, Azure Dragon Divine Emperor. There were 4 elders sitting outside the Azure Dragon Temple where the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor was. The four of them were all elders of the Azure Dragon Divine Sect, and they were all anxious. Roars continued to come out from the temple and echo across the world. These roars were filled with endless pain, and they caused the mind of anyone who heard them to tremble. The Divine Sovereign has been in closed-door cultivation for more than a month, one of the elders listening to the roars said with a worried look. The person beside him was about to speak when the roars from inside the temple became even louder. There was a thunderous rumble that sounded like someone was bashing the wall with their head. The temple trembled, and a large amount of restrictions appeared, preventing it from collapsing. The four people outside the temple looked at each other, and all saw the anxiety and panic in each other's eyes. Inside the Azure Dragon Temple sat an old man. This old man was skinny, and his face was distorted, as if he was enduring unimaginable pain. Beads of sweat soaked his clothes, and endless roars echoed through the halls. On his shoulders, legs, hips, and chest were 8 black chains locking him in place. They were linked to the chamber. There were also 4 treasures floating around him. Anyone in the 4 divine sect would recognize them as the 4 holy treasures. These 4 holy treasures gave off a glow that covered the old man as if they were restricting him. This old man was the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor. His face was filled with pain, and then, on his right arm, a 7-inch-long tumor suddenly appeared under his skin. It rapidly moved to his chest and eventually cycled through his whole body. The Azure Dragon Divine Emperor's roar echoed and his body struggled, causing the chains to shake. He also rushed out and smashed his head into the wall of the chamber. As the thunderous rumbles echoed, cracks appeared on the wall, but it soon returned to normal. The light from the 4 holy treasures became even stronger, and the illusions of a vermilion bird, black tortoise, and white tiger appeared. They seemed to be holding the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor down. A weakened Azure Dragon vaguely appeared above the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor. This Azure Dragon was very old and gave off an ancient aura. For some unknown reason, countless blood-colored tumors appeared on its body. It was a shocking sight. After an unknown amount of time, the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor's roar gradually calmed down. The 7-inch tumor gradually shrank until it disappeared. The chain no longer made noise, and the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor calmed down. He sat down, breathing hard, and after a long time, he revealed a bitter expression. Once again he regained his breath and was about to start cultivating when his head suddenly jerked up. He looked into the instance with a hint of joy in his eyes. After pondering a bit, he let out a joyous laugh, and 2 streams of tears fell from his eyes. Good, good, indeed a worthy divine emperor chosen by the old vermilion bird. He was able to be reborn through fire and completed the vermilion bird's 3rd awakening. I think he is the first clan member to complete the 3rd awakening since ancient times. Good. For you to obtain such a fortune, it was not in vain for me to suffer this unspeakable ordeal. As the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor laughed, footsteps echoed in the temple. The 4 elders walked in, and their voices came from outside the chamber. We welcome the Divine Sovereign out of closed-door cultivation. As they spoke, the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor formed a seal and pointed around. The chains around him disappeared, and the 4 holy treasures turned into rays of light before entering his body. He waved his sleeves and then walked out from the chamber. He looked at the 4 people before him with an indifferent gaze and slowly asked, "Is there any change on planet Suzaku?" The ancient god inside the spatial crack linked to planet Suzaku is about to awaken. However, we have listened to the Divine Sovereign's command and placed the great primal formation using the blood of the 4 clans. When the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor heard these words, he silently nodded. He looked at the distance with a complex gaze, and after a long time there was a flash of coldness in his eyes. His voice was filled with killing intent as he said, "The brilliant Void Realm has been chaotic for too long, and Alheaven has taken this opportunity to invade. Call all members of the 4 divine sect to gather. I am going to regain control of the brilliant Void Realm. All cultivators must either yield or die." The 4 elders before him were startled, but they looked up with excitement in their eyes. They quickly rushed out and sent the heaven-shaking order to the entire 4 divine sect. The entire 4 divine sect began to move. The people of the outer realm will soon arrive. Is there still time? The Azure Dragon Divine Emperor muttered to himself. In the 7-colored realm, as the blue vermilion bird flew into the air, Wang Lin's figure slowly walked out from the blue flames. He looked at the blue world before him with very bright eyes. "If my fire, thunder, and battle intent can merge with my true and false domain, my cultivation level will increase once more. No one under the heaven's blight cultivation level will be my match. Wang Lin looked at the distance, at the depths of the seven-colored realm. He could see a towering mountain in the distance. He could see the cave in that mountain, and he could see the strange scene inside. To plant doubt to nurture when the fruit becomes ripe, who will come to pick it? Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he raised his right hand and pointed forward. With this point, the blue vermilion bird let out a cry and suddenly moved. It took the blue flames around it and charged forward. A thunderous rumble echoed as the overwhelming blue flames rushed out straight toward the white-haired old man. The white-haired old man had 9 pieces of beast bone fragments surrounding him. They had driven away the surrounding flames, allowing him to close in. However, as he closed in, he suddenly stopped and looked ahead. Blue flames, like an ocean that covered the world, charged at him, and intense heat filled the world. Popping sounds came from the 9 pieces of beast bone around the old man. They seemed like they couldn't withstand the heat wave and were about to collapse. Such a shocking fire. It is extremely rare to see something like this. This child's cultivation level isn't high, but with just this fire, he could battle Nirvana Shatterer cultivators and not fall behind. Unfortunately, the old man's hands formed a seal and his origin energy began to move. His late-stage Nirvana Shatterer cultivation spread out, and a giant ball appeared between his hands. This ball contained a large amount of origin energy. As it rotated, a destructive aura spread out like crazy. Sovereign wants this person's soul. I think that aside from the fact that his soul is pure, the sovereign must also want this fire comprehension. When the old man thought he had the answer, his eyes lit up. He was going to kill Wang Lin and take Wang Lin's soul, and no one could stop him. He pushed his hands forward, and a whistling came from the ball as if it was calling something. At the same time, the old man's voice echoed through the world. Summon, defying ones. The moment his voice echoed, 7-colored light pierced through the blue flames and seemed to fight the blue flames. An illusionary figure appeared in the 7-colored light, and then a giant compass filled the sky. This didn't end here. Rays of 7-colored light formed a large 7-colored sword. It swung around as if it was going to cut the blue flames in half. These spells formed by the 7-colored light were all spells of the defying ones. In the hands of the old man, their power was far stronger than when Master Ashen Pine summoned them. The moment the 7-colored sword appeared, it rushed out. It turned into 7-colored sword energy as it charged at the blue vermilion bird inside the blue flames. The blue vermilion bird let out a cry, and all the blue flames in the world rushed out and collided with the sword energy, causing a heaven-shaking rumble. At the same time, the figure in the sky stepped forward and waved his hand. Strands of slaughter energy unexpectedly appeared. These strands of slaughter energy filled the sky and fell down like rain at the blue vermilion bird. However, when the blue vermilion bird let out a cry, the strands of slaughter energy collapsed one by one. It seemed all spells in this world had to collapse before the blue vermilion bird. Wang Lin looked at everything and rushed forward. He turned into a ray of blue light and charged ahead. A blue flame flashed in his left eye, and then a sea of flames surrounded him as he charged at the giant compass. The compass turned and let out a roar, but before any spell could appear, Wang Lin closed in, and the compass was surrounded by a sea of flames. Collapse! Wang Lin roared, then the compass began to burn and suddenly collapsed. Floating in the air, Wang Lin's left hand formed a seal and pointed down. The blue vermilion bird let out a cry as it took all the flames around it and charged at the white-haired old man. All of this happened in an instant. At almost the moment the white-haired old man used those spells, Wang Lin's counterattack destroyed them all. At the same time, his killing intent was locked onto the white-haired old man. The old man looked at Wang Lin with a serious expression. His right hand pointed at the sky, and he shouted, "As the guardian of the 7-colored realm, I command all defying ones to appear." As the old man roared, the 7-colored light seemed to go crazy and pierce through the sea of flames. Dozens of illusionary figures appeared from all around. There were young and old, men and women among these illusionary figures, but they all gave off terrifying auras. They all looked at Wang Lin, and shortly after, endless spells appeared around these dozens of people. Each one of these spells was comparable to the heavenly finger, and all of them shot toward Wang Lin. No matter how strong your flame is, you re only a Nirvana cleanser cultivator, so you can resist the spells of the defying ones. Your power of fire is indeed very strong. But this old man has the treasures gifted by the sovereign. Your fire can break through these treasures, the old man said with a calm voice. Mid-month and the hope for likes on the video has slipped by 2 days already? Tears streaming. Is there any hope left? Chapter 1212 Sealing Extermination Clan. Wang Lin wasn't confident in battling a late-stage Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. On a normal day he would be chosen to retreat, but after the Vermilion Bird's third awakening, he had a chance. Also, after absorbing the thunder from the Scatter Thunder Clan member, his thunder had also improved by leaps and bounds. More importantly, he had absorbed Xianxia's battle domain, although he hadn't fused with it and had only comprehended it a little. It gave him the determination to battle this late-stage Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. The phrase from Xianxia echoed in Wang Lin's mind. Cultivators like us never shrink from a fight. Wang Lin floated in the air and blue flames rushed out from his left eye and went toward his eyebrows. I gave up my life and death domain. At this moment the flames will replace my mind and my Tao. At this moment, I am the flames. I am the vermilion bird that has awakened 3 times. The blue flames gathered like crazy toward between Wang Lin's eyebrows, and a blue flame tattoo suddenly appeared. The moment the tattoo appeared, Wang Lin was no longer a cultivator, he was a fire celestial, the ruler of all fire. The current him was very similar to a Fire Sparrow clan member. The only difference was that the tattoo between Wang Lin's eyebrows was blue, while the tattoo of the Fire Sparrow clan was red. The blue fire tattoo burned between his eyebrows. Wang Lin let out a roar, and the blue vermilion bird also let out a cry filled with joy. The blue vermilion bird flew up into the sky and entered the tattoo between Wang Lin's eyebrows. It looked like the vermilion bird had become Wang Lin's origin soul. At this moment, his origin soul returned to this body. Then a new suit of armor appeared around Wang Lin. It was a vermilion bird-shaped armor that was completely blue. Wearing the armor, Wang Lin was like a noble vermilion bird. I order the fire of the world to gather, Wang Lin roared, and all the blue flames that filled the 7-colored realm began to gather as if they were welcoming their lord. After he spoke, the world suddenly rumbled as blue flames began to gather from all directions toward Wang Lin. If one looked from above, they would clearly see that the sea of fire was quickly gathering toward Wang Lin. It was very fast and arrived in almost an instant. This scene caused the white-haired old man to suck in a breath of cold air. His hand formed a seal, and all the defying one's spells shot out. The countless spells covered the sky and shot at Wang Lin. However, the moment the spells arrived, the sea of flames had finished gathering. Wang Lin was like a fire vortex, absorbing all the blue flames in the world. Rumbling sound echoed as all those spells collided with the fire. A thunderous rumble echoed across the world. It was very difficult to describe how spectacular this scene was. It was as if the entire 7-colored realm was burning and Wang Lin was the center point. As the spells continued to collapse, all the fire was absorbed into Wang Lin's armor and rushed to the spot between his eyebrows. At this moment, the blue light given off by the tattoo between Wang Lin's eyebrows was demonic. Fire of the heavens and earth, listen to my command and incinerate everything. Wang Lin's voice was calm, but this calm voice seemed to contain a heat that could burn the soul. The moment he spoke, the blue light between his eyebrows flashed intensely and fire rushed out. A sea of blue fire spread out with Wang Lin as the center. All the defying one's spells collapsed before the fire. Even the white-haired old man's expression changed greatly, and he retreated. His hands formed a seal to resist, but at this moment, popping sounds came from the 9 beast bones around him. They were unable to withstand the force of the fire and collapsed. The moment the beast bones dissipated, the blue fire rushed toward the white-haired old man as if it was going to devour him. The old man revealed a ferocious gaze and raised his right hand to his eyebrows. Suddenly, a slit opened between his eyebrows. This slit gave off a black light like a third eye. As a descendant of the Sealing Extermination clan, I summoned my clan's ancestral spell to seal his fire tattoo. When the flames closed in, the old man exposed his identity and the black light from between his eyebrows flashed. The black light formed a complex rune that seemed to absorb the older man's life. The old man suddenly became a lot older. The black light rune moved at an unimaginable speed toward Wang Lin. It pierced through the sea of blue fire and landed between Wang Lin's eyebrows. At this instant, Wang Lin retreated a few dozen feet. The blue fire tattoo flashed like crazy, trying to break through the black rune. The rune flickered like crazy as it resisted, and at this moment, they were dead even. In ancient times, there was a clan that had the power to seal the heavens. They were very strong and became one of the most powerful clans in ancient times. However, there were too few people in this clan, and they were almost extinct nowadays. However, rumor had it that any member of this clan had the power to seal all life. This old man was indeed a real descendant of the sealing extermination clan. He had used a special method to obtain some of their bloodline. He could use their spells, but it would cost him large amount of vitality every time, and this vitality could never be restored. If you were just a cultivator, it wouldn't have mattered, but you tried to imitate my high ancient clan. This old man will seal your fire tattoo and see what you can do without it. The old man was extremely afraid of Wang Lin's fire, or else he wouldn't have sacrificed his vitality to use the sealing spell. He rushed out toward Wang Lin. It was obvious to him that after sealing Wang Lin's fire tattoo, Wang Lin wouldn't even last one blow. Although he couldn't seal it forever, as Wang Lin's fire tattoo was too strong. However, he was confident in sealing it for a short period of time. Wang Lin retreated, and the fire tattoo between his eyebrows couldn't break free right away. The seal contained a shocking aura that could seal all life. The moment the fire tattoo was sealed, the blue fire suddenly disappeared without a trace, and everything returned to normal as if nothing had happened. Only the wreckage on the ground and those who witnessed what had happened could attest to the power of the blue fire. Fire isn't only my spell, so what if you seal it for a moment? Lightning flashed in Wang Lin's right eye. The seven-colored realm that had calmed down due to the departure of the fire was suddenly filled with a thunderous rumble. Endless bolts of lightning and thunder suddenly appeared. At the same time, the lightning tattoo in Wang Lin's right eye moved and appeared between his eyebrows. This lightning tattoo was a shocking sight, and it gave off a heaven-shaking thunder might. I'll wait for you to seal my lightning tattoo. Thunder of the heavens and earth, listen to my command. Wang Lin's right hand pointed at the sky and a thunderous rumble echoed. Even more thunder appeared in the seven-colored realm and gathered toward Wang Lin. It turned his surroundings into a thunder hell. Fire Sparrow Clan, scatter Thunder Clan, impossible. The white-haired old man was dumbfounded and disbelief filled his eyes. Wang Lin pointed at the sky, and at this moment, he turned into a member of the Scatter Thunder Clan. In fact, he understood thunder even better than them, and had better control over the heavenly thunder. As his right hand fell, the endless thunder that filled the seven-colored realm charged at the old man. The thunder lakes on the ground shot into the air and rushed at the old man as well. This was like divine retribution, and Wang Lin was the person controlling the divine retribution. Even the power of his thunder is enough to battle a Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. I must kill this person. No wonder the sovereign wants to kill this person. If he doesn't die, he will be a calamity for my high ancient clan. The white-haired old man let out a roar and shot up. He lifted his right hand and a strange light filled his eyes. The origin energy of the world unexpectedly rushed into his right hand. The moment the old man flew up, the thunder closed in and popping sounds echoed. The entire world was filled with thunder. I'll let you die to a spell you cultivators consider powerful. The old man let out a roar and his right hand mercilessly pushed forward. A giant palm print appeared, and the moment it appeared, a large amount of origin energy was sucked into it. War Spirit Print. Wang Lin's pupil suddenly shrank. This old man once entered the god sect and learned this spell. Today I'll kill you with it, and it will be considered completing a cycle. The old man was not surprised that Wang Lin knew this spell. After all, this spell had an illustrious reputation in the Cloud Sea. The War Spirit Print created by the old man suddenly created a majestic pressure as it rushed forward. It collided with the thunder and caused a heaven-shaking rumble. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with battle intent as he stared at the palm print and also lifted his right hand. The palm print appeared in his mind, and he mercilessly pushed forward. Suddenly, a portion of the origin energy absorbed by the old man's palm print separated and gathered toward Wang Lin. In the blink of an eye, another heaven-piercing palm print appeared in the seven-colored realm. This scene shocked the white-haired old man again. He was stunned for a moment, but soon an even more powerful killing intent replaced it. It was very difficult to see someone use the war spirit print, but even more rare was a battle between two war spirit prints. This was something that wasn't likely to happen even once every 10,000 years. However, right now in the seven-colored realm, two war spirit prints appeared and began a life and death battle. No one knew who was stronger or weaker, but the moment the two war spirit prints appeared, it seemed like the seven-colored realm was about to collapse. The earth cracked and a huge fissure appeared, dividing the realm in half. The fissure was right where Wang Lin and the old man's war spirit prince collided. The two palm prints closed in at extreme speeds. It's the middle of the month, wishing Leo's video gets plenty of likes. Remember to like and share Leo's video, okay? And don't forget to leave your thoughts about the video. Chapter 1213, Tao Spell. The white-haired old man hadn't learned the essence of the war spirit print. He hid his identity and went into the God sect and didn't get many chances to comprehend the core spells of the God sect. However, his talent was astonishing. After he researched the spell and saw it a few times, he was able to learn part of it. Although it couldn't be compared to the true war spirit print, it had its shape and contained 30% of the original S-power. Also, he had used his late-stage Nirvana Shatterer cultivation to forcibly power this spell, making it almost impossible to distinguish it from the real one. Wang Lin's war spirit print came from the Rain celestial realm. After comprehending it many times, he was finally able to use it. He had also only learned the surface, but the power of the person that left the print at the Rain celestial realm was heaven-shaking. Otherwise, that print wouldn't be giving off an aura countless years later, or left such fine cracks on the ground. As a result, although Wang Lin's cultivation was lacking, his war spirit print contained his power of thunder and his ancient god power. This made his war spirit print almost indistinguishable from the real thing. At this moment, the two heaven-piercing palms rumbled, making it seem like the seven-colored realm was going to collapse. As the wind swept by, the two palm prints collided. Rumble, 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 rumble. The earth shook and the sky was torn open. The collision of the two palms created an impact that could destroy the world. The seven-colored realm began to collapse, and the large crack was torn in half. The entire seven-colored realm was split in half. In the distance, Chen Tianjun had been paying attention to this battle since the start. His heart was in complete shock, and he was unable to speak. His throat was dry and his mind was trembling. He had decided that if he could leave this place alive, he would never again go to any place with buried treasure and never take any more risks. There was also that old woman in green. She also flew out with her tired body and sensed the battle in the distance. Her face was pale, but at this moment, all her vicious thoughts toward Wang Lin scattered. She felt awe toward Wang Lin. What the hell is his cultivation level? Compared to him, I'm no match at all. The old woman gasped, and the respect in her eyes became even stronger. Also at this moment, due to the fire and thunder, the fog inside the Valley Master Cloud's soul was in had contracted. The fierce beasts inside trembled and hid themselves, allowing him to finally escape. Just as he escaped, he immediately felt the powerful vibrations of the seven-colored realm. He clearly felt the origin energy and thunder, and what made his heart drop was that he clearly felt Wang Lin's aura. The collision of the two war spirit prints caused the seven-colored realm to collapse and split in half. At this moment, Wang Lin felt the impact and was pushed back. He coughed out blood, and his face immediately turned pale. The lightning tattoo between his eyebrows weakened. That palm contained a large amount of his thunder. The white-haired old man wasn't any better. He retreated, and every step he took created a deep footprint. His face was pale and blood was coming out of the corner of his mouth, but he had an extremely ferocious expression. He mercilessly kicked off with his right foot and shot toward the dust straight toward Wang Lin. Scatter ThunderClan tattoo, I'll seal you again. I don't believe you will have a third tattoo after I seal your fire and lightning tattoos. The old man's body was like a bolt of lightning as he broke through the dust. His right hand mercilessly hit the spot between his eyebrows and the crack appeared once more. A second rune giving of a powerful black glow flew out. After using 2 seals, the old man had lost most of his vitality. He looked like he had just climbed out of the grave and gave off the scent of decay. The black rune flew out like a ray of lightning and landed between Wang Lin's eyebrows. It formed a second seal and locked down the lightning tattoo. The old man's expression was ferocious as he closed in. He lifted his right hand and formed an origin energy spear as he closed in on Wang Lin. Wang Lin, indeed, didn't he have a third tattoo, but aside from fire and lightning, he still had battle intent. The battle domain, Xianxia's inheritance. Wang Lin hadn't fused with this domain yet. The moment the old man closed in, Wang Lin's eyes gave off a crazed battle intent. An extremely bright golden light came from between his eyebrows. This golden light shot into the sky, and at the same time, the word battle appeared between Wang Lin's eyebrows. Then battle intent filled the world, and Wang Lin got up. At this moment, it was as if he wasn't Wang Lin, but an incarnation of Xianxia. His upright body and straight backbone could support the world. No one could cut him down. The battle has just began. Wang Lin's body was surrounded in a golden glow. He waved his right hand. The image of the word battle appeared before him and shot at the white-haired old man. Impossible! The shock the white-haired old man felt was far greater than before. The shocks Wang Lin had given him during this fight were each greater than the last. They were far beyond his imagination. The incredibly powerful blue fire already shocked him. After he sealed the blue fire with his heaven-sealing spell, the lightning tattoo unexpectedly appeared. He originally thought the war spirit print would be enough to kill Wang Lin, but he didn't think Wang Lin would also have the war spirit print. Then he thought that if he used the heaven-sealing spell again to seal the lightning tattoo, Wang Lin would have no power to fight back. However, he had miscalculated again, and a battle tattoo he had never seen before appeared on Wang Lin. He had a feeling that even if he were willing to sacrifice more vitality to seal the battle tattoo, another force would appear. This feeling was extremely strong, and Wang Lin had already closed in while he was in that short trance. Wang Lin didn't even use any spells. Instead, he used his ancient god body to begin a bombardment. Wang Lin's body gave off a crazed level of battle intent. This battle intent surrounded Wang Lin and made him look like a battle celestial. The white-haired old man retreated. His body was inferior, but his cultivation level was higher, so he immediately used spells. The two of them began close-quarters combat. The old man took out a large amount of treasures, but those treasures didn't stop Wang Lin at all. As the rumbles echoed, Wang Lin's fist landed, and he turned with a sweep from his right foot that forced the old man to retreat. This white-haired old man rarely encountered such attacks, as battles often relied on spells and magic treasures. However, every punch and kick this person threw contained earth-shattering power. If they connected with his body would almost collapse. The more the old man fought, the more frightened he became. If this person doesn't die, he will definitely be a great enemy for my high ancient clans. That calmness he carries is terrifying. The tattoo between Wang Lin's eyebrows flashed as images flashed through his mind. Xianxia's entire life was worthy of his name. Throughout his life, over the countless battles, whether they were big or small, he had never retreated. He had accumulated a lot of experience, and these experiences turned into his domain. It was only one word: battle. The battle with the body was experience, and the comprehension with the mind was the origin of the word battle. What was battle? In Xianxia's view, it was a kind of spirit, a will that wouldn't yield even to the heavens. I can die, but even after I die, I will be a battle ghost. I can die, but even after I die, my will can still shake the heavens. I am a hero both in life and death. Cultivators like us never shrink from a fight. What Wang Lin inherited was this will and a large amount of combat experience. At this moment, he moved like the wind, and endless rumbles echoed. The white-haired old man was even more shocked. The white-haired old man's hand formed a seal, and a large amount of origin energy gathered. He didn't care about wasting it, and he created a collapse before him. He borrowed this impact to separate from Wang Lin. His face was pale and there was trace of fear in it. When Wang Lin closed in again, he lifted his hands to form a seal and closed his eyes. An invisible ripple seemed to spread out from the old man's body across the seven-colored realm. Summoning the lost Tao, the enlightened Tao, and all lost Tao souls, I melt your Tao soul. The moment the old man said this, the lost ones and enlightened ones that had disappeared due to the fire and lightning all appeared in every corner of the seven-colored realm. The moment they appeared, they immediately collapsed. All of the lost ones displayed a moment of clarity in their eyes, but during the moment of clarity, they turned to dust and dissipated. As they dissipated, Tao souls flew out from where they dissipated. They flew into the sky and headed toward the white-haired old man. Those enlightened ones also dissipated, and a large amount of Tao intent spread. They turned into Tao souls and flew toward the old man. The fierce beasts in the outer realm that were struggling in the flames all collapsed one by one. Their souls flew out and were pulled toward the old man. High Ancient, lend me your power to scatter his Tao. The countless Tao souls in the seven-colored realm gathered before the white-haired old man. The Tao souls all fused into one, and then a yellow light filled the world, enveloping Wang Lin. Tao scatter! The old man's ferocious voice echoed, and he used all his power. Aside from the Heaven Seal, this was the spell that terrified people the most. It allowed the Seal Extermination Clan to run the High Ancient clans, and it was only second to the ancient demons, devils, and gods. This wasn't a spell or an ability, but the rare Tao spell. Anyone who was surrounded by the yellow light would have all the Tao they had accumulated scatter. The white-haired old man couldn't fully use this spell on his own, and he could only make it last for 3 seconds. Just these 3 seconds would consume more than 90% of this old man's lifespan. However, in order to complete the Sovereign S order, he didn't hesitate. The victor would be decided here. Mid-month, hoping to get the like button pressed for the VIDEO. Chapter 1214 Taiju. The yellow light seemed to be a callback to the origin. Everyone who was shrouded by it would feel the sense of reincarnation as the past flashed before their eyes, making it impossible to distinguish from the present. Spells controlled the power of the world and appeared in a special way. This was a Tao spell, and its power was related to one's cultivation level. Abilities were a method to explosively increase the power of spells, a method of gathering and manipulating origin energy. However, Tao was different. It was very rare for someone to know a Tao spell. Rumor had it that only people who entered the Tao realm could obtain one. Tao spells were similar to battles between domains, but the root was very different. A battle of domains was a competition of one's domain and a battle of the mind. However, a Tao spell was a sublime power that specialized in killing the soul. Everyone gains different comprehension in the Tao realm. When the white-haired old man became a member of the Seal Extermination Clan, he had the privilege to enter the Tao realm for a short period of time. There he understood a truth about a person's origin. What was the origin of a person? In his view, it was the memories of the soul. He believed that a person's entire life was actually just memories. If the memories were not extinguished, then even if that person died, that person could live indefinitely. Similarly, if the memories of all the comprehension a person had of their domain was wiped away without a trace as if it never existed, then his memories would be incomplete. These incomplete memories would make that person fall and become immortal. At this moment, the white-haired old man used the very rare Tao spell he had comprehended from the Tao realm. The Ji realm represented an extreme force, the Shi realm represented creativity, and the Tao realm represented an inextinguishable might. The yellow light filled the world. This light was soft, but it could penetrate all things in this world. When it fell on Wang Lin, it pierced through the battle domain around him and directly landed in the memories of his soul. 3 breaths of time is enough. The white-haired old man closed his eyes. All his vitality disappeared as if he had died. Wang Lin felt the world turn. In his eyes, the 7-colored sky was no longer there, and it continued to spin until it turned into a blue sky filled with white clouds. The sky was very blue and clear. The earth also rapidly trembled. He saw an illusion that the earth beneath him disappeared layer by layer. The mountains in the distance shrank until everything disappeared and turned into a luscious green forest. A small path appeared beside him. This path was a dirt road that led into the luscious green forest. At this moment the wind blew and the leaves rattled. The wind carried an earthy fragrance that was intoxicating. It seems I fell asleep. Wang Lin opened his sleepy eyes and looked ahead. After a long time he looked back and saw that at the end of the path was a calm mountain village. There was smoke coming from the houses as well as sounds of children playing mixed with dogs barking. I seem to have had a dream. Wang Lin scratched his face, and his honest face revealed a confused expression. He picked up the book next to him and stood up. He looked at the forest in the distance and vaguely saw the misty mountains in the distance and pavilions that belonged to the sect on the mountain. In the dream, I became an immortal and experienced more than 1,000 years of cultivation. I must have become tired from studying to have such a strange dream. Wang Lin was confused and entered a daze. While in a daze, a voice entered Wang Lin's ears. "Taiju, your dad is looking for you. Why haven't you gone home?" It was a middle-aged man holding a hunting pitchfork. He was about to leave the village to hunt. Beside the middle-aged man stood several stout young men. One of them looked at Wang Lin and laughed. "Taiju, study well and place highly in the imperial test. Allow our little village to have a moment of fame." Wang Lin scratched his head and said hello to everyone before heading off toward the village. Good-natured laughter accompanied him as he went farther and farther away. "This is really strange. That dream is a bit too real. Red Butterfly, Li Muwan, Liu Mei, Mu Bing Mei, Lu Yanfei, Li Cha Mei, there were also Yunke-zi, Zhuke-zi, Situnan, the Alzer, and so on. Also, Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor, Azure Dragon Divine Emperor, Tuos and Tusi. I remember accepting 2 disciples. One was named 13 and other Shi Qing. As Wang Lin walked, his mind was still a blur. There is an ancient god on planet Suzaku. Outside planet Suzaku there is also the Corp sect and the Cultivation Alliance, the 4 Divine sect. The place I am in is called the Alliance Star System. In my dream, I also went to the Alheaven Star System and the Cloud Sea Star System. I also went to the Celestial Realm. Wang Lin was dazed for a long time. When he raised his head, he was already outside his house. He shook his head and let out a sigh as he muttered, "That dream was very strange. It seems father and mother were dead in my dream." He no longer thought about the strange dream and pushed open the door that led into the yard. The moment he went in, he saw his father holding a pipe. He shook it on the floor before staring at Wang Lin. Seeing his father's stern gaze, Wang Lin felt his heart skip a beat. "Taiju, how is your studying?" Wang Lin softly said, "Hey, going well." "Hunsha, Taiju, you have to study well. Next year is the big county exam. Whether or not you will have good prospects for the future will depend on you. Don't be stuck in a village like this forever like your dad, alas." Wang Lin's father shook his head and stood up. At this moment, his mother came out and complained to his father for a bit before she brought out food. The family sat down in the courtyard and began to eat. Wang Lin hesitated for a bit before looking at his father and softly saying, "Dad, I had a dream." Before he could finish speaking, the sound of carriages and a knock came from the gate. Wang Lin was startled. He remembered from the dream that it was 4th uncle who arrived. "Second brother, open the door." Wang Lin subconsciously stood up, ran toward the gate, and opened the door. He saw a burly man standing outside with a pair of fierce eyes. He rubbed Wang Lin's head and laughed. "Taiju, I haven't seen you in half a year, and you've grown taller again." Wang Lin's eyes revealed a trace of confusion. He didn't know what to do and sat back down. He was in a daze for a long time, and after a while he heard 4th uncle's voice. "Second brother, second sister-in-law, I want to tell you something. The Heng Yue sect is accepting disciples. I want Taiju to go try to get in. Once he enters the sect, he will become an immortal. It is a very rare opportunity." Immortal? Can this child do it?" Wang Lin's father became excited but was uncertain. "The immortals are accepting disciples and there is some kind of test. Let Taiju go take it." After hearing this, Wang Lin's body was startled and he looked at his 4th uncle and father. His vision blurred again, and the scene of his dream seemed to be moved by a strange force. They appeared one by one in his mind. He saw himself walk out from the mountain village and fail the test. Under the taunting of his family, he left the mountain village on his own and was resting on a cliff. A tiger suddenly attacked him from behind, and when he fell down the cliff, he was sucked into a strange cave. Inside the cave, he picked up a bead. The moment his right hand touched the bead, he suddenly heard an outburst in his ear. "Heaven, heaven defying." This voice was very, very familiar. It was as if he had heard this voice before. But no matter how much he thought about it, he couldn't remember where he had heard his voice before. However, this outburst was replaced by a miserable cry. It was that familiar voice again, and it seemed to be suffering unimaginable pain. As the miserable cry echoed, Wang Lin's world seemed to have started collapsing, and 7-colored light unexpectedly started to appear. In an instant, his vision blurred as if the power controlling his own memories had gone out of control, and he jumped ahead several years. His surroundings changed drastically and he was quickly escaping. The forest appeared in the corner of his eyes. He was very fast, and the feeling of a life-and-death crisis filled his mind. "You can escape from me, Teng Li!" A gloomy voice came from behind as a youth with a cold gaze calmly chased him. During this life-and-death crisis, Wang Lin's vision suddenly became blurry as the miserable scream echoed in his ears. The sound became more and more clear, and he had a feeling that he was about to remember who that voice belonged to. However, just at this moment, his surroundings changed again. At this moment, he was inside a large valley. A sense of grief and sorrow he had never felt before washed over him. No matter how loudly he roared, he couldn't vent the sorrow in his heart. Tang family. As long as I, Wang Lin, live, then one day I'll turn your Tang family into a river of blood and dye the country of Zhao red. I'll wipe out your entire Tang family and leave no one alive. If I violate this oath, let me be hacked to pieces, die a terrible death, and sink forever into hell. Wang Lin seemed to have gone crazy as the endless sorrow drowned him. The pain was heart-piercing. Kneeling on the ground, tears flowed out from his eyes. His bloodshot eyes revealed a madness that didn't seem to belong to a human. His hair turned white overnight, and his surroundings became as cold as winter. An unspeakable force was born in his body. This power didn't belong to a mortal, but at this moment, Wang Lin obtained it. This was the peak of slaughter and the limit of strength. It was called Ji. The moment the Ji realm was born, that miserable scream echoed, and it was filled with unimaginable shock. Ji, it is unexpectedly Ji. What has he been through in his life? For Ji to appear, the heaven-defying bead is in his hand and the Ji realm is in his hands. This person, panic filled the voice, and it became even more clear as it echoed. The sky collapsed, the earth collapsed, and the seven-colored light filled the world. Welcome everyone to watch. Fans of the narrative chapter expressed their wishes for praise in the latest installment. May the new chapter receive even more acclaim. Chapter 121, Acting Recklessly. The Cultivation Union is a very large organization. Aside from a few people, no one knows exactly how many countries are part of the Union. The minimum requirement for a country to become a true member of the Cultivation Union is to reach rank 6 and gain their own cultivation planet. Generally speaking, as long as the country is a cultivation country, they belong to the Cultivation Union. But there are countless cultivations countries, so the Union doesn't have time to manage them all personally. So generally speaking, all cultivation countries rank 5 and below are managed by the rank 6 cultivation country on the planet. The country Suzaku rose at an insane speed. It went from rank 1 to rank 6 in only 100,000 years, becoming one of the rare rank 6 cultivation countries. After becoming a rank cultivation country, they gained the right to have their own cultivation planet. That planet was named Planet Suzaku by the Cultivation Union. On the planet Suzaku, the country of Suzaku's orders are goddess orders. The planet Suzaku has 18 rank 5 cultivation countries. Whenever a country meets the requirements to become a rank 5 cultivation country, the country of Suzaku gifts them 10 foreign battlegrounds. That is to say, there are only 180 foreign battlegrounds on planet Suzaku. If one were to collapse, then there would permanently be one less foreign battleground. That is, unless they are willing to buy one from the rank cultivation country at a very high price. As for how these foreign battlegrounds are formed, and where those spatial rifts lead to, no one in the rank cultivation countries know. Each of the rank cultivation countries control many rank 4 cultivation countries, and every rank 4 cultivation country controls many rank 3 cultivation countries. As for rank 1 and 2 countries, the Cultivation Union has set rules to prevent anyone from interfering with their growth. Zhao is a rank 3 cultivation country controlled by the rank 4 cultivation country of Green Dragon. They are controlled by the rank 5 cultivation country of the Giant Demon Clan. Every time there is a large battle in the foreign battleground, all of the nascent soul cultivators in Zhao are called to fight. They aren't allowed to delay or resist. Back then, the Hang Yu sect S5 nascent soul ancestors were called to go. If they went, the Hang Yu sect would be safe, but whether they were going to live or die was unknown. If they refused, not only would the Hang Yu sect be destroyed, but they would be killed as well. In fact, the same thing happens in almost every rank cultivation country. This is natural selection. A dog-eat-dog world. An order by someone strong is something a weak person has to follow and can refuse. Maybe it's due to having to live in this cruel world that cultivators adapt faster than mortals. Or maybe, in the eyes of those high above in the Cultivation Union, this world, this universe is a giant refining pot. Whether it's mortals or cultivators, both are being mercilessly refined. In ancient times, cultivation focused on comprehending the heavens and pursuing their own Tao. Cultivators gave people the feeling of elegance and heavenliness. But the ancient cultivation world suddenly collapsed in a disaster. Then, the cultivation union rose up and took its place. That's when the word Tao shattered. It has been proven that cultivation without any desire is the path to destruction. Only by following the laws of nature will one walk the true path of cultivation. Although they don't know the final result, at least right now under the command of the cultivation union, the current cultivators are far stronger than the cultivators of ancient times. This is more than enough. At the moment, a strange event was occurring in one of the foreign battlegrounds that belonged to the giant demon clan. Every cultivator that had managed to get a piece of divine sense panicked. A huge meteor shower seemed to cover the foreign battleground as every piece of divine sense charged toward one place. Shortly after, the foreign battleground that was already on the verge of collapsing couldn't withstand the power of this divine sense and began to truly collapse. A large hole appeared in the foreign battleground. The hole instantly devoured a huge chunk of the foreign battleground. At the same time, a huge divine sense carefully came out of the rift. Following it were a bunch of mysterious creatures, the same ones Wang Lin devoured. The same scene appeared in other areas of the foreign battleground. 3 large divine senses came out of the giant rift caused by the collapse of the foreign battleground. Countless mysterious creatures came out and jumped on anything they saw. It would be fitting to describe them as locusts. Every one of the cultivators used all their strength to escape in a frenzy toward the transfer array. They were afraid that if they were one step too slow, they would be devoured. One could see many swords desperately flying. The moment the 3 giant souls appeared, Wang Lin immediately noticed them. He was very familiar with these 3 divine senses as they were his 3 neighbors. At this moment, the divine sense that he had sent out in the past 3 years gradually returned to him. Every time a portion returned to him, his divine sense grew larger until it reached its original size. Wang Lin wasn't in a rush. He sat down cross-legged and got used to this foreign body. Several mysterious creatures came by and saw Wang Lin. They hesitated for a while, but couldn't withstand the temptation and jumped toward Wang Lin. When they were a dozen meters away from Wang Lin, he opened his eyes and shouted, "Know your place!" His large divine soul suddenly spread out, and the mysterious creatures seemed to have met their natural predator as they let out screams and quickly shattered. But before they could escape, they were caught by Wang Lin and were instantly devoured. As he was about to devour more, a large divine sense came to try to stop him. Wang Lin let out a cold snort. Not only did he not back up, but he devoured all of the strange creatures that wanted to attack him. The other large divine sense let out a sigh and didn't say anything. Most of Wang Lin's divine sense had returned to his body, however. There were still some pieces that were not in the foreign battleground, so they couldn't return to him. However, in terms of strength of his divine sense, it was almost no different than from before. "Everyone, I'm going to pass through." He spread out his divine sense and moved. This divine sense immediately covered the entire foreign battleground, and the 3 divine senses that were happily eating suddenly paused. Shortly after, each of them sent a message toward Wang Lin. "You are very powerful. I can believe you managed to leave that place. This place is about to collapse. Our job as soul devourers is to devour this place to prevent it from collapsing. You are a soul devourer as well. Why are you interfering? Newly born soul devourer, my wandering souls offended you, so you are in the right to punish them. But devouring a collapsing space is what us soul devourers are born to do. Even if we don't devour, there will be other soul devourers that will come to devour this place." The 3 large divine senses sent out one sentence each. They no longer devoured and waited for Wang Lin to respond. In their view, Wang Lin was at the same level as them. This was the first time he had heard about soul devourers. He pondered a bit as he sorted out Mai Liang's memory and knew that the transfer array was about to open. If the entire foreign battleground were to collapse, he wasn't sure if the transfer array could still open. "I don't want to stop you guys, but hope you guys can slow down so it takes longer for the foreign battleground to collapse." "Okay, as you wish." "I also agree, but you can stop the wandering souls from hunting." After forming an agreement, Wang Lin moved toward the location of the transfer array with Mai Liang's memory. On the way, every time wandering souls noticed him, they would all be terrified. They quickly backed away and didn't dare to block him. Along the way, Wang Lin felt very unnatural in his new body. Although this Mai Ling's talent and spirit root were really good, several times better than what he had before, this was, after all, a possessed body. It would require some time to refine before he could completely take it over. At this point, he didn't have any spiritual energy in his body and was relying on his divine sense to move. The first thing he would need to do was find a place to go into closed-door cultivation, improve his strength, and combine with his powerful divine sense to kill his way back to Zhao. While flying, Wang Lin suddenly stopped and looked northwest. He pondered a little and flew over there. Not long after, he saw 3 beams of light flying towards him. 10 wandering souls were closing in behind them. Zhou Zihong was a disciple of the war god shrine of the country of Huofen. She was normally very sweet, but the current pursed her lips, her hair was in a mess, she was covered in sweat, and the spiritual power in her body was all used up. Her face was filled with grief as she looked at her 2 senior apprentice brothers. Their faces were also filled with grief as they desperately ran. "I am afraid we are the only 3 people from the war god shrine that are still alive." Zhou Zihong let out a miserable laugh. 3 days ago, there were still 10 people from the war god shrine, but who would have thought that the foreign battleground would suddenly collapse and all these strange creatures would appear? Any cultivator who was caught by these wandering souls would die and have the essence in their body devoured until their body became a mummy. And these strange creatures seemed to love hiding inside these mummies. Every time the cultivators saw a body, they were terrified. Today marks the first watch, longing for the like button for the VIDEO. The VIDEO wants to charge up the trending charts, hoping the veteran supporters lend their firepower. Chapter: Beautiful Taste and Anticipation. As the world collapsed, Wang Lin still knelt there. It was as if the collapse of the world couldn't attract his attention at all. The rumbles echoed for a long time before Wang Lin raised his head. Tears still flowed down from his face, but his eyes were filled with clarity. "This is the 7-colored realm you've forced me to remember the painful past. I want you to pay the price of death." Wang Lin's voice was low, but every word contained monstrous killing intent. The moment his voice echoed, the rumbling became even more intense. The sky was torn open, and the blue sky was no longer there. Instead, it was replaced by the sky of the 7-colored realm. The earth trembled and collapsed layer by layer. Finally, it became a ruined land burned by fire. It was the land of the 7-colored realm. The white-haired old man's chest was stained with blood, and there was still blood flowing out from the corner of his mouth. His eyes were blurry. They were filled with disbelief and shock. In truth, the moment he saw the heaven-defying bead in Wang Lin's memories, his Tao spell collapsed and his vitality was extinguished. The shock he felt was like millions of bolts of thunder exploding in his ears. It filled him with fear. Then, when the Tao spell was collapsing, he saw Wang Lin's realm being born. This caused him to cough out blood and he became extremely weak. He almost lost the ability to think as he lost his wits. This became a battle of his Tao spell against the G realm, the Tao spell against the heaven-defying bead. He had no chance of victory. Wang Lin raised his head, and the moment he uttered those words filled with killing intent, he charged out like lightning toward the old man. His fingers formed a sword and pointed directly to between the old man's eyebrows. The old man's body trembled and blood sprayed out from the back of his head as his skull shattered. Wang Lin didn't stop here and pointed 6 times in a row. The popping sounds were earth-shattering. The old man's arm collapsed, his legs collapsed, and in the blink of an eye his body turned into a mist of blood. Inside the fog, the old man's origin soul screamed and was surrounded by a 7-colored glow as he escaped into the distance. Wang Lin was filled with killing intent as he chased after him. While he chased, he pointed at the old man, and every time he did so, the 7-colored light would tremble. The old man's origin soul let out miserable screams and became weaker and weaker. He chased closely behind the old man. It had been a long time since he wanted to kill anyone this much. Anyone who made him recall his memories had touched his bottom line and had to die. As he chased, the old man surrounded by the 7-colored light charged for the mountain. He was filled with panic and continued to scream in his heart. "Sovereign, save me! Sovereign, save me! Stop for me!" The madness in Wang Lin's eyes became even stronger and he waved his right hand. The 7-colored light suddenly paused. At this moment, Wang Lin charged in, and his two fingers pierced through the seven-colored light, landing directly on the old man's origin soul. With a bang, the old man's origin soul was about to collapse. However, he was, after all, a late-stage nirvana shatterer cultivator. He was seriously injured but not dead as he struggled to escape even faster. While pursuing, Wang Lin let out a roar at the sky and the blue flame appeared in his left eye. The seal trembled, but in the end collapsed before the blue flame. The seal dissipated, and Wang Lin was surrounded by a sea of fire. He pointed forward, and the monstrous flames charged at the seven-colored light surrounding the old man's origin soul. Miserable screams echoed. This time the white-haired old man's origin soul was extremely weak. 4 of the 7 colors around him dissipated. The 2 of them were both moving very fast, but the distance between them was getting smaller and smaller. Just at this moment the lightning mark appeared in his right eye. There was also a seal on it, but it only struggled for a few breaths before it collapsed. Without the seal, thunder rushed out and danced within the fire. Rumbles shook the heavens and earth as the endless thunderbolts whistled through the fire. They all charged at the old man under Wang Lin's command. A thunderous rumble echoed, and the remaining 3 colors around the old man collapsed into specks of light. Without the 7-colored light protecting him, the old man's origin soul was exposed to the blue fire and thunder. "No, Sovereign, save me." The old man's expression was filled with the fear of death as he let out a roar. At this moment, he had already reached the mountain deep within the 7-colored realm. However, just as he got close, Wang Lin let out a roar and the blue fire immediately shot out and surrounded his origin soul. From afar, it was impossible to see the old man's figure. The thing that could be seen was a sea of blue fire. Thunder gathered from all directions as if all the thunder in the world was congregating toward the old man's origin soul. The moment the thunder gathered, all the fire in the world also gathered toward the trapped old man. All of this happened in a flash, fast beyond imagination. All the fire in the world suddenly gathered at one point. The thunder gathered as well, forming a combined attack of fire and thunder. There were 2 circles contracting. One was the sea of blue fire and the other was all the thunder in the world. The moment the 2 circles overlapped into one point, the world trembled. A heaven-shaking rumble replaced all sound, causing the 7-colored realm to collapse once more. A sharp and miserable scream dissipated inside this rumble. A pillar of blue fire shot directly into the sky as if it was going to pierce the heavens. Countless thunderbolts filled the inside and outside of this fire pillar, forming a pillar of thunder that overlapped with the pillar of fire, and also pierced the heavens. This scene could be clearly seen from anywhere within the 7-colored realm. Inside the 7-colored realm, Xianxia felt his ears go deaf from this rumble. His body trembled, his origin soul trembled, and shock mixed with fear filled his body. This feeling lingered and wouldn't dissipate. He stared dumbfoundedly at the fire and thunder pillar in the distance. His throat became dry and his face turned pale. Unveil I. Killing a late-stage nirvana shatterer cultivator, his name will become famous in the Cloud Sea. I, Xianxia, am honored to be able to witness his spell right now. In the distance, the old woman in green was pale as she stared at the fire and thunder in the distance. There was fear in her eyes. She could clearly feel that if she were to face any one of the 2, she would without a doubt die. Her mind trembled and she couldn't help but feel fear, especially when she thought about how they were enemies, which terrified her. There was no cultivator that didn't cherish their life, and this was even more so with her. I must make up with this person and make up for the conflict we had before. Otherwise, with this person as my enemy, there will be no place for me in the Cloud Sea. Fortunately, our conflict isn't deep, and there isn't any direct feud. The old woman in green took a deep breath and made up her mind. Even further away, Master Cloud's soul had a face filled with bitterness. He naturally sensed the fight and felt a complicated feeling. There was an even stronger sense of panic within him. This panic was like a fire that was going to burn his mind. How could he be this strong? Even now, Master Cloud's soul couldn't believe this, and fear filled his heart. Ever since he was teleported here, he had been living in fear. He hated Wang Lin and wanted to devour Wang Lin's flesh and blood. However, after he watched the battle, he was shocked and couldn't accept this truth. After a moment, Master Cloud's soul let out a miserable smile and his eyes became filled with crazed, killing intent. This person would never let me go, and he must be seriously injured after the battle against the late-stage nirvana shatterer cultivator. I might still have a chance. If he recovers, then I will undoubtedly die, but if he is seriously injured, then I might still have a chance in an all-out fight against him. Once I kill him, everything in the seven-colored realm will belong to me. Master Cloud's soul's heart was moved. Before entering the seven-colored realm, he was confident in killing Wang Lin. However, now, even though he thought Wang Lin was seriously injured, he still felt nervous like a mortal attempting to kill a celestial. This change was enough to show Master Cloud's soul's subconscious fear of Wang Lin. He clenched his teeth and charged ahead. The fire and thunder pillar slowly dissipated. The old man's origin soul had disappeared from this world completely. Even after his death, the so-called sovereign he kept calling never appeared. Looking at the mountain ahead, Wang Lin silently pondered. After the thunder and fire dissipated and all sound disappeared, bursts of miserable wails came from the top of the mountain. The painful wails were like someone's unwilling roar before death, but they still weren't able to escape fate in the end. Wang Lin vaguely felt the battle tattoo in his body tremble, as if there was something on the mountain that made it excited. After a long time, Wang Lin lifted his feet and walked forward. He wasn't fast. He slowly walked up the mountain until he arrived outside the cave. Standing here was as if he was standing at the peak of the seven-colored realm. It seemed like he could see the entire realm at a glance. From this position, the wailings from the cave was even more clear. It was as if countless people were inside enduring unbearable pain. At this moment, in the ancient star system, inside the palace, the fire on the candle burned brightly, and the withered hand slowly withdrew. I awaits. The heat has reached the right temperature, however. This fire isn't the right kind yet, because it hasn't boiled the soul, yet an ancient voice slowly said from behind the candle. A pseudo-sealing extermination clan member died. Do you have any doubts about the cause of his death? An indifferent voice said. Why should I doubt? I'll know the answer after the Tao has been planted. This will be more interesting. The unknown has the most wonderful taste. The wait is eternal anticipation. So let the fire go crazy. For now, just the first watch today. Leo will rest tonight and start catching up on the missed chapters tomorrow. You are listening to a completely free audiobook on the Leo Audio YouTube channel. If you enjoy the story, please like the video to motivate the channel. Support Leo with a cup of coffee through the description link or on the screen. If you want to hear any other stories, just comment and let Leo know. Thank you very much for watching the video. Chapter 1216, Seven-Colored Flower. Looking at the cave, Wang Lin's eyes shined. He raised his foot and walked closer step by step. He got closer and closer to the cave. However, when he was within 10 feet of the cave, a giant vortex appeared in the sky of the seven-colored realm. It created a strange sound that would disturb one's mind. When people heard it, an invisible fire would arise in their hearts. Wang Lin's body trembled as he raised his head and stared at the vortex that appeared in the sky. His gaze seemed to penetrate the vortex in the sky and see a star system with an indescribable temple. His gaze stopped there, and a crazed feeling appeared inside Wang Lin's heart. This feeling arrived in an extremely strange way, but he couldn't stop it. Just at this moment, the seven-colored light in the seven-colored realm became even more dense. All the seven-colored light in the world charged at Wang Lin. It was as if Wang Lin had become the source of the seven-colored realm and all the seven-color light was attracted to him. It surrounded him and drilled into his body. In just a few short breaths of time, the seven-colored light intensified even more. Endless seven-colored light closed in. As the large amount of light drilled into Wang Lin's body, he remained motionless. His mind was grasped by an indescribable force, making it impossible to control his body as the seven-colored light charged his body. The seven-colored light became more and more intense, until it seemed like all the seven-colored light in the realm was gathering here. The outer region of the realm was no longer filled with seven-colored light and was dark. If you looked from above, you would clearly see that the seven-colored realm was like a giant circle. And all the seven-colored light was rapidly condensing toward Wang Lin. The madness inside Wang Lin's body became even stronger when the seven-colored light entered his body. Eventually, it became like a seven-colored ocean that drowned his mind and replaced it with endless madness. A madness just like that of Qing Shui in the past. This madness caused Wang Lin's face to become twisted. The veins on his face swelled. His eyes turned blood red, and he let out a world-shattering roar. This roar was like the roar of a beast that echoed across the world. It turned into a thunderous rumble that echoed across the realm. More and more seven-colored light entered Wang Lin's body. His body trembled and he wanted to struggle, but the more he struggled, the more intense that sense of madness became. He continued to roar, and in just this short period of time he became soaked in sweat. His hair moved without any wind and his eyes became more and more red. Wang Lin had become mad. He lost his mind, lost his consciousness, and lost his memory. The world before him became blood red. The only thought in his mind was kill, 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 kill. Kill all living things, killing the world. A sense of violence filled his heart. At this moment, even if Li Muan appeared before him, he wouldn't have hesitated to kill. The feeling of madness completely suppressed Wang Lin's mind. He was like a beast filled with killing intent. As the killing intent increased, the feeling of madness also intensified. At this moment, 70% of the seven-colored light in the seven-colored realm had already entered Wang Lin's body. More than half of the realm was in darkness. Roar! Wang Lin let out a roar, and his expression was terrifying enough to shock anyone who knew him. As the seven-colored light continued to enter his body, he sunk forever into slaughter. His body was filled with unimaginable origin energy. He couldn't feel the intense pain in his body. The only thing that remained was slaughter. The fire from his left eye flew out and immediately surrounded his body. The thunder from his right eye shot out and surrounded the area. The mountain he was on trembled violently. The seven-colored light didn't pause and continued to arrive. The surrounding world became dark at a visible rate. Soon the seven-colored light disappeared, and there was not a speck of light remaining. All the light had been absorbed into Wang Lin's body and became the source of his madness. The moment when no light remained in the seven-colored realm, Wang Lin let out a crazed roar. His eyes were blood red. He wanted to destroy everything, including himself. This is the most wonderful fire in the world. It is called the rage. Take your rage, use your madness to boil your soul, and grow the Tao for this old man. Add the last Tao. Will this old man really wants to know if you can burn my finger, would it? An ancient voice slowly came from the vortex in the sky. It seemed to penetrate space and time, and seemed to contain marks left by the passage of time. Wang Lin lost consciousness, and his body fell. His origin soul, his soul, and everything beside his body all turned into a ray of red light. It was as if he was burning as he charged into the cave. There was a large amount of bubbling lava giving off black gas inside. There were also countless chains, and on each chain hung a dried-up skeleton. There were also countless jades floating in the air, and there were heaps of Tao intent sealed inside each jade. The wailings were coming from inside the jades. The magma wasn't deep, so you could vaguely see under it. There were countless runes engraved under the manga, and they gave off a faint light. Every time the light flashed, bursts of Tao intent would enter the magma and be absorbed by the runes. Also, drops of black liquid would drip from the skeletons and into the magma. This would cause the magma to boil. The moment the red light Wang Lin turned into entered, all the jades suddenly collapsed, and the endless Tao intent entered the magma. At the same time, all the skeletons collapsed into large amounts of black liquid and fused with the magma. In an instant, even more bubbles appeared above the magma. The magma began to spin, and the runes under the magma melted, forming an unimaginable suction force. The moment Wang Lin entered, it began to devour Wang Lin. This magma rotated faster and faster. In just a moment, it seemed to penetrate the cave and created a passage to a connected space. This was a boundless space with countless stars inside, forming a giant formation. This formation was very large, at least the size of the Alliance star system. Every single star was a part of the formation. At the center of the formation were 7 flower-like plants. Each of the 7 was a different color, forming the 7 colors of the rainbow. They weren't very big, only thousands of feet wide. Compared to this vast formation, they were truly insignificant in size. However, this formation existed precisely because of these 7 plants. This entire space and formation existed to provide nutrients for these 7 plants. The power of the stars, the power of countless planets, the power of countless spatial cracks like the 7-colored realm absorbed endless Tao. Then this Tao was turned into nutrients to nourish these 7 plants until they grow, flower, and finally form fruits. This star system didn't exist, but someone had used a powerful spell to create this space around the sealing formation, and it became part of the sealing formation. This way, every time someone inside the sealed realm died, their Tao would be absorbed, becoming nutrients for the plants. This was planting Tao. This has been going on for countless years. It constantly absorbed the Tao intent of all the people that died inside the sealed realm. During the time of the ancient celestials, they didn't have Tao, so this formation absorbed the laws the celestials cultivated as nutrients. During the time of ancient cultivators, there were no laws, so the formation absorbed the origin energy the ancient cultivators had as nutrients. These were the methods used to nourish these 7 plants for the Tao fruits to form. There was a skeleton sitting on the crimson red plant. There were countless golden words carved on the skeleton. The words gave off a black light, which was then quickly absorbed by the plant. This crimson red plant had blood red delicate petals, but most of the petals had already fallen off with only a few remaining. When all the petals had fallen off, this crimson red flower would form its fruit. Just at this moment, a crack appeared next to this flower. An array of red light shot out from the crack into the flower. This red light contained Wang Lin's origin soul and soul. It was absorbed into the plant next to the skeleton. The plant seemed to be absorbing the last bit of nutrients as the last few petals fell and the center began to move strangely. A crimson red fruit slowly formed. Time slowly went by. An unknown amount of time passed, and it seemed to go on for an eternity. The crack outside the plant gradually shrank as if it was going to dissipate. Wang Lin had already dissipated inside the plant, and red liquid filled the area he was at. The skeleton beside him also dissipated. It turned into a purplish gold liquid and became part of the red liquid. Time passed. 1 year, 10 years, 20 years, 40 years. It seemed a very long time had passed. Less and less red liquid remained as it became nourishment for the fruit's growth. As the amount of liquid decreased, the fruit gradually grew. It was tender and moist, as if it was formed by fresh blood. A total of 98 years passed. You once asked me if the fire would burn my finger. Now I can answer you. It one T, an ancient voice, echoed inside the star system. A fruit is about to form from one of the 7 colored flowers. The other 6 fruits are also not far away. This old man was convinced by the sovereign back then to not face the void turbulent realm and chose to stop cultivating. I chose to not find out if the heaven trampling 4th step really exists, and instead willingly became the caretaker for this red plant. All in hopes that his heavenly plan will succeed. It seems like that day is not far. Not paying attention, this chapter quickly racks up 5,000 words. Does that qualify as a major chapter? Could it be wishing for the like button for the video? Chapter 1217, Awakening. Counting from when Wang Lin entered the 7-colored realm, time quickly swept by, and it had been 99 years. During these years, an earth-shattering change occurred in the Alliance star system. The 4 divine sect moved in force and swept through the remnants of the Cultivation Alliance. They also forced the Corpse sect to work with them to force the Alheaven army back. The Corpse sect originally didn't intend to get involved. They held of the idea of benefiting from the sidelines, especially since it seemed like if either the Alheaven or the 4 divine sect wanted to win, they would need the Corpse sect's help. The Corpse sect didn't care about the fact that the Alheaven cultivators were invaders. What they cared about was the large amount of business in selling and buying bodies that the war had brought. The Corpse sect even hoped that the war would continue on forever. However, all of this was ruined by someone, and this person was the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor. He charged into the Corpse sect and killed numerous Corpse sect elders by himself, and even seriously injured the remaining kings. This forced the first king, and also the sect master of the Corpse sect, to come out. The 2 of them began a battle that shook the entire star system. In the end, the first king of the Corpse sect was completely defeated. If not for the fact that the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor had other motives, it wouldn't have been hard for him to kill the first king. This battle shocked the entire Corpse sect and taught them of the power of the 4 divine sect. They also held extreme fear toward the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor. The Corpse sect had to obey the orders of the 4 divine sect, and they began a war against Alheaven. This was a huge battle between the 2 star systems. It was during this war that Tuo-sen awakened and broke through the formation around planet Suzaku. His appearance shocked Alheaven. Tuo-sen appeared and acted based on his mood. Right after he awakened, some Alheaven cultivators provoked him. He charged into the battlefield and killed tens of thousands of Al-Heaven cultivators. After he finished killing, he left and said only one line. "You are all too weak." None of the Al-Heaven cultivators dared to chase, including Master Lu Fu, who hid himself in terror. He escaped far from the Alliance star system and didn't dare to take even half a step inside. Fortunately, after Tuo Sen appeared, he didn't stay in the Alliance star system for too long. He first went to the Four Divine Sect. With the power of an ancient god and the power of his stars, he was able to seriously injure the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor in one blow. He collapsed the Four Divine Sect's starfield, leaving countless cracks, so no one could enter it. However, Tuo Sen didn't kill the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor, and he also said one line. "You re too weak." As for the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect, the eternal flames were extinguished by Tuo Sen with a wave of his hand. This fire is annoying to look at. None of the members of the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect dared to speak out in anger. Then Tuo Sen left and went to the Brilliant Void Realm and battled the old man. After sealing the old man in one of his stars, he used the god-slaying spear and caused the Brilliant Void Realm to collapse. The Brilliant Void Realm, which had existed for countless years, vanished. It became something that would only live on in memories. Mu Bingmea's body collapsed. Her origin soul was seriously injured and she went missing. Tuo Sen didn't feel the need to give chase, but instead left a mark on her and let her go. Shortly after, the Corpse Sect was attacked due to Tuo Sen's rage from not being able to find Wang Lin. Countless people died, and after that, Tuo Sen left. The last place Tuo Sen went to was the sealed Rain Celestial Realm. Facing the seal around the Rain Celestial Realm, Tuo Sen became serious for the first time. However, this seriousness just made his arrogance and pride show even more. Just when he was about to attack, Qing Lin appeared outside the Rain Celestial Realm. The two talked about something unknown, but Tuo Sen pondered for a long time. Then he nodded and left. He disappeared from the Alliance star system with the countless ancient cultivators he controlled and went somewhere unknown. He searched for the person he had to devour. However, that person seemed to have disappeared from this world. No matter how much Tuo Sen searched, he couldn't find a trace of him. Tuo Sen's appearance caused the situation in the Alliance star system to change greatly, but also calmed it down. The Al-Heaven cultivators all retreated back to their own star system due to Tuo Sen. This war that had lasted for hundreds of years ended due to Tuo Sen. Only a roar that shook the entire star system echoed before Tuo Sen left. "Wang Lin, where the hell are you?" Words with a similar meaning were also heard from Lu Yanfei's mouth on the continent of Mo Luo in the Cloud Sea star system. "Senior, where are you? There is only 1 year until the competition at the main sect. Will you return?" In the Cloud Sea star system, the Purple Dao sect had rapidly grown, nearly becoming one of the top 6 sects in the rank region. However, during these hundreds of years, the Purple Dao sect's master, Lu Yongkong, always looked into the stars as if he was recalling something. Only the old man that always followed him would occasionally hear Lu Yongkong's soft murmur. "Brother Lu, I benefited a lot from our Dao debate all those years ago. However, now that 100 years have passed, how come I haven't heard any news of you? My cultivation has improved. If we can meet again, I want to debate Dao with you again." Similarly, in the rank region, deep inside the fog where the demon sect was, the blue-haired Li Qianmei was calm as she slaughtered the fierce beasts inside the spatial crack. The cultivators from the various sects that came with her were all in awe at this blue-haired woman. At the same time, many cultivators had hidden affection toward her. This included many cultivators, and a lot of them were famous cultivators. Under the constant beast tides, the amount of people that would show off their abilities increased. During these 100 years, a lot of cultivators died as they resisted the beast tides. People died almost every day. As time passed, the beast tides became even more vicious, and they were filled with rank 12 beasts. Sometimes even a rank 13 beast would show up, and every rank 13 beast was a disaster for the cultivators. The people of the demon sect also appeared on the battlefield. They were the main force. Very few of the cultivators from the other sects were deemed worthy by the demon sect. In their view, these people were merely here to distract the fierce beasts. However, during these 100 years, 4 people had obtained the recognition of the demon sect. Li Qianmei was one of them. Almost all the cultivators knew that Li Qianmei had a treasure. It was a golden pen that could draw runes that were extremely powerful. When people wanted to borrow it to examine it, Li Qianmei would immediately refuse, even if they were people from the demon sect. Her quiet temperament would suddenly become extremely stubborn. On one occasion, Li Qianmei was sieged by numerous rank 12 fierce beasts. She ended up suffering serious injuries and went into a coma. She was rescued by the people of the demon sect and woke up a moment later. She disregarded everyone's warnings and charged back into the battlefield with her hair in a scattered mess, all just to retrieve the golden pen. Since then, all the cultivators knew that this golden pen was Li Qianmei's most precious possession. Where are you now? Almost 100 years have passed at this moment. Li Qianmei was sitting on a simple cultivation platform with a pale face. It seemed like she was injured. Before her, a large number of fierce beasts were charging through the fog and were being held back by countless cultivators. She seemed to have forgotten about the slaughter of the battlefield and the roars of the beasts. She raised her head and looked into the distance. There was a wild continent somewhere in the cloud sea. Mu Bingmei had used a secret spell of the brilliant void realm to break through the spatial barrier to escape here. She was slowly reforming her flesh. After she was seriously injured and had her body destroyed by Tuo Sen, for some reason she wanted to see Wang Lin one more time. Wang Lin, I wonder if you are well in the cave of a wild continent in the cloud sea. Mu Bingmei slowly opened her beautiful eyes and looked ahead. A sense of loneliness she had never felt before filled her heart. She felt very cold in this foreign place where she cultivated in solitude. The cold seemed to surround her body and the cave. Listening to the cold wind outside the cave, she felt even colder. The seven-colored realm had been in darkness for over 100 years since all the seven-colored light had disappeared. A mysterious force had enveloped the mountain where Wang Lin's origin soul and soul disappeared, making it impossible for outsiders to enter. Master Cloud Soul had attempted to break in but failed. All he could do was find a cave nearby and silently look at the dark world outside for 100 years. Shen Tianjun and the old woman in green also felt the passage of time inside this dark world. There was a corpse lying there motionless on top of the mountain, shrouded in this mysterious force. Despite almost 100 years passing, there was no sign of decay on the ancient god body. It looked just like it did years ago, only now it was covered in dust. In the special space created just for nourishing the seven-colored fruits, the fruit from the red plant had been gradually growing. It was about time for it to fully mature. On this day, a remnant of divine sense appeared inside the fruit. It seemed to be absorbing the power of the fruit, and it gradually grew until it became a bead. The moment the bead appeared, Wang Lin slowly awakened as if he had seen a dream. Due to the heaven-defying bead, no one noticed his awakening. Not even the caretaker of the flowers noticed the shocking change inside the fruit. This change was enough to make the universe tremble, enough to change the trajectory of the heavens and earth for both the outer realm and the sealed realm. The person raising the flower once said that his finger wouldn't be burned by the fire, and he was very confident about this. Just how long would this confidence last? Would it? It would. Here comes another 4,000 words in a major chapter. Leo doesn't make empty promises. Could it now be time to wish for the like button for the video? Chapter 1218, The Realm Sealing Formation. At a glance, the boundless star system was filled with bright nebulae. As they shined, they gave off a majestic view. They seemed to have existed for eternity, and it was impossible to tell how old they were. The stars were completely silent, as if all the sound was being submerged by the darkness. In the distance, there was an abandoned planet. No light reached this planet, and it was shrouded in death aura. It was like an elder struggling in his dying breath, the air he exhaled filled with death. There was a person sitting on this abandoned planet. If anyone cultivator saw this, they would be shocked, and their mind would go blank. They would think their vision had become blurry, and they were seeing an illusion they wouldn't even dream of. His body was the size of several planets. As he sat on the planet, he gloomily stared off into the distance. His skin was rough, covered in countless cracks that seemed to form strange marks that emitted a strange glow. This person was clearly marked by the passage of time. It was as if this person had existed for as long as the heavens and earth. He had survived for so long that even he didn't exactly remember how long it had been. His majestic body gave off an indescribable aura just by sitting on the abandoned planet, and it enveloped the entire starfield. All the creatures in the starfield were trembling in fear. This was the Al-Heaven star system. All the cultivators in the Al-Heaven star system were gripped by fear. That feeling of tension and fear was something they couldn't stop. There were still some wild beasts that didn't dare to move before this aura. It was as if as long as this person willed it, their bodies would collapse into piles of blood as sacrifice. This person was like a god. There were 8 stars between his eyebrows, but only 4 of them were bright, while the remaining 4 were all black. As if they were dried up, however, they hadn't dissipated. He was like the strongest existence and ruler of this starfield. After a long time, the gloominess was replaced with confusion. The rain celestial realm doesn't have his aura, the thunder celestial realm doesn't have his aura, the lightning celestial realm doesn't have this aura. Where the hell is he? The giant lifted his head, revealing his hideous expression, and let out an earth-shattering roar at the sky. As he roared, powerful vibrations spread across the stars. The abandoned planet under him began to collapse and formed a shockwave that quickly spread. A shocking change occurred to the origin energy around him. The collapse of the abandoned planet ripped open countless spatial cracks, and the cold wind blew out of them. However, it didn't affect the giant at all, and he continued to roar. As his roar spread across Al-Heaven, countless savage beasts exploded into blood mist and many cultivators coughed out blood. They either ended up seriously injured or dead. An invisible sound wave spread across the star system. Whenever it hit a planet, it would cause the planet to tremble. A moment later, after the roar ended, the abandoned planet suddenly exploded. Tuo Sen stood up and walked into the distance. The barriers of the 4 celestial realms were insignificant for him. There seemed to be nothing in the world that could stop him. His pace wasn't fast, but too big. With one step, he crossed an immeasurable distance. A giant vortex filled with fog appeared before him. It was the Cloud Sea. Walking toward the vortex, Tuo Sen disappeared from Al-Heaven and stepped into the Cloud Sea. The moment he entered the Cloud Sea, all the cultivators of the rank 9 sects instantly felt an aura that shook them to the core. Even the fierce beasts in the fog began to tremble, and they all retreated, not daring to get close. Even the beast tied from the crack also trembled in fear and retreated like crazy. This caused the slaughter that had lasted for almost 100 years to take an unexpected break. An unimaginable divine sense swept across the Cloud Sea like a storm. All the fog was pushed back as if it was trembling before this divine sense. At the same time, several divine senses charged out from the Cloud Sea and mercilessly collided with Tuo Sen's divine sense. A roar that was silent, but could penetrate the mind like countless bolts of thunder exploding spread across the Cloud Sea like crazy. A normal day, Tuo Sen would have killed everyone. However, at this moment, his eyes narrowed. He had searched the 4 realms but couldn't find any trace of Wang Lin. However, he knew Wang Lin wasn't dead, or else he would have felt the dissipating inheritance. If the 4 star systems all don't have his aura, then there is only one possibility. With a stomp of his right foot, the Cloud Sea immediately trembled and ripples echoed across space, causing a large crack to appear. His body sank into the crack and disappeared. After he disappeared, divine senses arrived with shock and searched around before leaving in shock. Aside from a few old monsters, no one knew the real reason behind the shocking change in the Cloud Sea. There was a void under the 4 star systems. This was where the realm sealing formation was. You could enter the ancient star system if you broke through here. Tuo Sen appeared in this void and looked into the distance. His expression became even more gloomy. During this period of time, his divine sense had spread everywhere and couldn't find Wang Lin's aura. Ancient star system Tuo Sen was silent. His memories weren't complete. However, in the memories he had obtained, there was some information on the ancient star system. He vaguely remembered that 2C was from there at that time. The realm sealing formation didn't exist. His gaze seemed to be able to see through the realm sealing formation and the outer realm. He saw the home that he was familiar with in his memories. He searched everywhere but couldn't find Wang Lin's aura. The only conclusion was that Wang Lin was in the ancient star system. Tuo Sen's eyes became cold. Wang Lin was something he had to devour because only then could he be complete. Even if you hide in the ancient star system, this god will devour you. There is nowhere in this world you can escape to. His right hand formed a fist and his huge body rushed forward. Countless ripples appeared in the void as if they were being peeled layer by layer. Soon, a cobweb-like formation appeared under it. The moment the cobweb-like formation appeared in the void, Tuo Sen punched with his right fist. This was a punch of a true ancient god, a royal ancient god's fist. When the giant punch closed in and collided with the formation, Tuo Sen attempted to break the formation by himself. The moment his punch landed, the entire void trembled and a thunderous rumble echoed. Large amounts of ripples spread out with his body as the center. The ripples quickly spread across the void, and after the ripples dissipated, the entire void changed greatly. This place was not longer a black void, but a giant formation that covered the entire sealed realm. Even Tuo Sen seemed small compared to it. It was impossible to describe how big the formation was, as one could only see the vague seven-colored light released by it. After Tuo Sen's punch landed and the thunderous rumble echoed, the formation didn't move at all. Instead, a shocking rebound force collided with Tuo Sen's fist. When the rumble echoed, even someone as strong as Tuo Sen had to retreat. Tuo Sen's expression became ferocious as he stared at the formation. As a royal ancient god, he had his pride, and this formation dared to stop him. He let out a roar and rushed out again. His fists moved like meteor, and he began a violent confrontation with the formation by himself. The entire formation revealed a rare tremble, but it didn't show any sign of collapse. No matter how much Tuo Sen attacked, it still remained, not allowing anyone to take half a step out. What happened in the sealed realm alerted the people watching the formation, but before they could arrive, the formation had received enough damage for the formation spirit to appear on their own. A ray of light formed within the formation. There was a flash of silver light that looked like lightning, and a spear formed. This spear was covered in endless lightning, and it shot straight at Tuo Sen. It was incredibly fast and gave off a heaven-shaking thunderous rumble. Just at this moment, Tuo Sen turned around and his right hand moved like lightning. An unimaginable amount of ancient god energy surged out and collided with the spear. The spear collapsed with a bang, but it reformed after it collapsed and carried an even stronger aura. It stabbed directly into Tuo Sen's right arm. The moment it stabbed, large amounts of lightning rushed out and rampaged across his body with the spear as the origin. The lightning formed a net that seemed to tightly seal Tuo Sen. Shortly after, another light formed inside the formation. It was a blue light that condensed into a short sword. It carried with it a monstrous sword energy and coldness as it shot toward Tuo Sen. At 36, Leo is still getting wisdom teeth, in pain for many days, with swollen jaws, frustrated, and they're not even breaking through yet. Counting them, there are 3 or 4 wisdom teeth not yet emerged. Chapter 1219, 8th Spirit Appear. Tuo Sen's eyes lit up and his right hand waved at the sky while the lightning entangled him. There was a thunderous boom as a giant crack appeared, and the god-slaying spear appeared. He grabbed the god-slaying spear and waved it with a roar. An aura that could make the world tremble appeared, and it collided with the blue short sword. Popping sounds echoed like crazy, and the blue short sword suddenly collapsed into countless pieces. Though it didn't dissipate but shot straight at Tuo Sen. At the same time, more light appeared inside the formation. This time there were 3 different lights that shined violently. One of them was gold and condensed into a giant golden knife. This knife was more than 1,000 feet long and immediately flew at Tuo Sen. The second ray of light was purple and appeared after the golden light. It turned into a 10,000-foot-long purple whip that had countless runes engraved on it. The moment it appeared, the formation became twisted. Popping sounds echoed as the whip moved like a python, swinging at Tuo Sen. The third ray of light was red and spread out like fresh blood. This made the entire formation look blood-red. Painful wails and cries immediately came from the red light. When the red light condensed, a 9-headed mace appeared. There was blood dripping from the 9 heads. It seemed this spirit treasure was extremely brutal and had been stained with the blood of too many people over the countless years. The moment it appeared, it charged at Tuo Sen. There was a total of 9 spirits in this formation, and at this moment, 5 appeared to attack Tuo Sen. Tuo Sen's expression was extremely serious as he swept with the god-slaying spear. His left hand waved at the void and moonlight began to gather before forming a half-moon blade. The half-moon blade circled him and began attacking the spirits of the formation. The thunderous rumbles made it feel like the void was going to collapse, but the formation showed no signs of breaking. Tuo Sen let out a roar as he began a battle against the 5 formation spirits. Just at this moment, although there was no light from coming the formation, a heat wave appeared. The moment the heat wave appeared, a giant thing several 100,000 feet large appeared within the formation. It gave off an ancient aura and was marked heavily by the passage of time. It was extremely ferocious and would shake the mind of anyone who looked at it. It was a giant catapult. There was a massive fireball in the catapult. This fire had no color and couldn't be seen, but one could clearly feel the unimaginable heat. With a bang, the catapult threw the fireball straight at Tuo Sen. If it was just one fireball, it wouldn't have been an issue. However, almost immediately after the first one was thrown, another one was quickly formed by the formation, and the catapult continued to launch them. Over the countless years as people tried to break through the ceiling formation, an unimaginable amount of people had died to it. When the 6th spirit appeared, even Tuo Sen was at a disadvantage. When the 6 spirits attacked, there was a heaven-shaking rumble, and Tuo Sen retreated for the first time. He had to retreat. His expression was serious with a hint of disbelief. However, his ferociousness became even stronger. What a powerful formation. Only when I devour Wang Lin and become a true 8-star royal ancient god will I have a chance of breaking this formation. Not only was this formation designed to seal the cultivators in here, it was obviously designed with my ancient god clan in mind as well. However, I can faintly feel Wang Lin's aura here, which means Wang Lin must be outside the ceiling formation in the ancient star system. I must break open this formation, no matter what it takes. Tuo Sen's eyes revealed a red glow. As he retreated, his right hand pointed to between his eyebrows. The 3rd star between his eyebrows shined like it had never shone before, and the source origin aura of a 3rd step cultivator rushed out. I'll use my full power to charge out, but that means I have the power to return. However, this is not a problem. Wang Lin is in the ancient star system outside the ceiling formation, so it would be useless for me to stay in the sealed realm. As long as I can leave and devour him, then no matter how much I sacrifice, it will all be worth it. Tuo Sen made up his mind. The source origin energy from his 3rd star became even more intense and seemed to unexpectedly shroud the entire formation. One could hear the faint sounds of death screams from the 3rd star, but at this moment a powerful surge of energy echoed. The 3rd star flew out and smashed toward the ceiling formation like a meteor. Tuo Sen stepped forward and started to shrink until he was the size of the meteor before rushing out behind it. He charged at the formation, with the star containing the source origin of a 3rd step cultivator making a path, and the god-slaying spear and half-moon blade around him. A powerful force gathered around Tuo Sen. He moved faster and faster toward the formation. The 6 spirits of the formation attacked like crazy in an attempt to stop him. The catapult launched countless fireballs, and as the heaven-shaking rumbles echoed, Tuo Sen moved even faster. Just at this moment, another ray of light came from the formation. It was black, as if it was the void, and as it scattered, the formation seemed to disappear. The black light condensed into a giant baton that was covered in black gas. The moment it appeared, it gave off an aura that could absorb one's mind. The moment the baton appeared, it swept toward Tuo Sen. As the thunderous rumbles echoed, the 7 spirits seemed to fuse into one and stop Tuo Sen. A rumble echoed, and for the first time, Tuo Sen's face turned pale and blood seemed to come out from the corner of his mouth. What kind of formation is this? What kind of madman placed this formation? Is there another hidden existence here besides me? Otherwise, there is no way for such a powerful formation to exist. His charge was blocked, and although his eyes were filled with madness, his mind was calm. In his life, aside from 2C, he feared no one. As he stared at the formation, the madness in his eyes became even stronger. Instead of retreating to find a 3rd step cultivator to seal to increase my power, I'll rush out now and find 3rd step cultivators in the ancient star system. This will be your punishment for placing such a formation here. He raised his right hand, let out a cold snort, and pointed at his 2nd star. The 2nd star suddenly gave off an even more powerful source origin energy and flew out as a 2nd meteor. It flew at the formation ahead with an even more powerful force than the first meteor. Break for this god, Tuo Sen roared as he charged after the 2 meteors. The 2 meteors formed an impact that the formation had rarely seen in the countless years it had existed. The formation had never been broken since it was formed. Tuo Sen's attack contained a destructive aura that could destroy the world, and it instantly closed in. The seven spirits continued to try to stop him, and the thunderous rumbles were the only sounds that existed in this void. However, Tuo Sen had borrowed the power of the second star, the God-Slayer spear, and the half-moon blade to close in on the formation. At this moment, another light appeared from the formation. After seeing this light, even someone as powerful as Tuo Sen was startled, and he charged even faster. In an instant, the light condensed into a giant axe. An ancient god aura immediately spread out. The moment the axe appeared, he was completely startled. He had encountered many things over the countless years, but he had never been as shocked as he was right now. This is impossible. How can this become this formation's spirit? After the axe filled with a powerful ancient god aura appeared, it rose into the sky and chopped down on Tuo Sen. This chop felt like no life in this world could escape or resist. So what if it is the ancestral royal weapon? Nothing will stop me from breaking this formation. His eyes turned red, and he pointed at the first star between his eyebrows. Then another burst of source origin energy appeared. The third star flew out like a meteor and fused with the first two stars into one star. Tuo Sen charged out and fused with the meteor. The explosion of the source origin of 3 third-step cultivators, along with the power of 3 ancient god stars with the god-slaying spear and half-moon blade, leading the charge at the formation, completely disregarding the attack of the formation spirits and the axe. At this instant, the attacks of the 7 spirits landed on the meteor and the giant axe chopped down directly on the meteor. The meteor suddenly collapsed and Tuo Sen coughed out blood inside, but he moved even faster. When the axe chopped down for the second time, he smashed into the formation. This collision was heaven shaking. It shook the 4 celestial realms and stunned all the guardians of the formation rushing in from the outer realm. This formation that had never been broken before trembled violently as if it was going to collapse. But in the end, it didn't collapse. Tuo Sen smashed into it like crazy and continued to smash into it, causing it to shake even more violently. Flowing ink transformation divine technique. The axe chopped down again and again, each attack causing Tuo Sen to cough out blood. He was still crazed and even used the flowing ink transformation divine technique that Tusi wasn't able to complete. At this instant, a black mist surrounded Tuo Sen, and at this moment, the axe suddenly stopped as if it was hesitating. Borrowing this moment, the black mist invaded the formation. Explode, explode, explode! Tuo Sen's voice shook the world, and the meteor surrounding him exploded. An unimaginable destructive force hit the formation, and for the first time, a crack appeared on the formation. The moment the crack appeared, Tuo Sen charged out. Tuo Sen laughed like crazy as he coughed out blood. The 3 dim stars returned back to him, but one of them suddenly collapsed. Wang Lin, this god is coming. I want to see where you will escape to. Leo has caught a cold, his nose running like a leaky faucet, making it unlikely he'll make it home tomorrow. Trying hard to ensure a new update, but lacking the energy, longing for the like button for the video. Chapter 1220, Owner of the Heaven-Defying Bead. At this moment in the space that didn't belong to the sealed realm or the outer realm, where the 7 plants were being nourished, the red fruit became even more delicate and ripe. The heaven-defying bead slowly rotated inside the fruit and emitted a blue flame. This flame permeated the inside of the fruit, making its appearance even more shocking. A long time passed. In addition to the blue flame, flashes of thunder appeared and slowly fused with the blue flame. Then a battle intent charged out. It used the liquid inside the fruit as nutrients and gradually fused with the blue flame and thunder. The fusion of thunder, fire, and battle would be impossible outside this place. But here, where immeasurable amounts of Tao intent had been gathered as nutrients, this impossible transformation was occurring. More importantly, there was also the heaven-defying bead inside the fruit. As time slowly passed, a new domain slowly appeared. This was the true and false domain. It appeared in the shape of a yin-yang symbol. Half was true, and half was false. Half was karmic cause and half was karmic effect. Half was life and half was death. After this yin-yang symbol appeared, it immediately absorbed the fire, thunder, and battle domain. The yin-yang symbol seemed to form a vortex and absorbed everything inside the fruit. The heaven-defying bead was at the center of the yin-yang symbol and rotated with it. Wang Lin was completely sober and felt all of this happen. He was in a very strange state where he seemed like he was there but not there at the same time. As the yin-yang symbol rotated, thunder, fire, and battle were all absorbed by it. Within Wang Lin's newly born consciousness, he murmured as if he was sending a divine sense message, fire among the laws, the Tao that melts all life. The moment this divine sense message appeared, a large amount of the liquid inside the fruit was sucked into the yin-yang symbol. This liquid contained the Tao intent of everyone who had died and comprehended the Tao of fire when they were alive. The fruit was no longer beautiful as the liquid was being devoured by Wang Lin. Wrinkles appeared on the surface of the fruit. Under this crazed absorption, Wang Lin seemed to sink into endless reincarnations. He suddenly became an old man standing among the stars who controlled the fire of the world with a wave of his hand. Then he suddenly became a middle-aged man. With a lift of his hand, a cultivation planet turned into a sea of flames. He also became a young man who walked out from a world filled with flames. As he walked out, the flames were all absorbed. Reincarnations similar to this appeared one by one inside Wang Lin's mind. Each one represented someone's enlightenment of fire. This cycle continued, and those comprehensions of the Tao of fire fused with Wang Lin's consciousness. They were deeply engraved into his mind and became a part of him. All comprehension of fire, from the ancient times to now, from the celestial realm to the 4 star systems, they all became nutrients for Wang Lin. The comprehension from their lives had all been sucked away, became a type of Tao nutrient. However, now it was all absorbed by Wang Lin. Thunder. Among the laws, it is the Tao that punishes all life. The moment he sent out the second divine sense message, the large fruit shrank rapidly. Large amounts of liquid were absorbed by Wang Lin, and the Tao intent flooded into Wang Lin's consciousness. He saw all the cultivators that cultivated thunder throughout all of history. The comprehension of thunder from all these ancient cultivators rushed into Wang Lin's consciousness. He seemed to have been reincarnated tens of millions of times, experiencing countless lives. He became the unfamiliar yet familiar ancient cultivators and obtained the power of thunder over and over again. He obtained the thunder Tao from comprehension again and again. Battle. Among the laws, the Tao that doesn't bow to the heavens or earth. All of the Tao intents that contained the battle domain rushed into Wang Lin's consciousness. They turned into an earth-shattering will that was engraved into Wang Lin's mind. The fruit shrank even more. As more liquid was absorbed by Wang Lin, even this crimson-red plant that was thousands of feet wide began to tremble. Just at this moment, a shocking voice echoed inside the star system where these 7 different colored flowers were located. The Tao fruit is about to appear, but why is it wilting? Just as the sound appeared, a powerful divine sense charged at the fruit. However, as soon as the divine sense closed in, the heaven-defying bead inside the Tao fruit released a gentle light that collided with the divine sense. The divine sense was immediately bounced back. The moment the divine sense was bounced back, a shocking change took place. The fruit withered like crazy until it was almost dry, and even its skin collapsed into specks of red crystals that were absorbed by the yin-yang symbol around the heaven-defying bead. It didn't end there. The moment the fruit was sucked dry, the red plant trembled violently and began to wither rapidly. None of the essence of the plant could escape from being sucked into the heaven-defying bead. Wang Lin's consciousness immediately felt an unimaginable amount of origin energy rush into his mind. His domain began to rapidly grow from the absorption from before. As he absorbed like crazy, countless Tao intents and origin energy rushed into him. Wang Lin felt like he was going to collapse. This intense pain seemed to be able to tear his mind. His domain diffused across his mind. True and false, life and death, karma also, thunder, fire, and battle. All of these things melted and became his own comprehension. They fused, becoming a new type of law that had never appeared before. The moment this law appeared, Wang Lin's cultivation trembled as if countless bolts of thunder had exploded. He broke through from the mid-stage of Nirvana cleanser to the late stage. This law contained true and false along with thunder, fire, and battle to become Wang Lin's own unique Tao. This law contained thunder, fire, battle, life and death, karma, and true and false. Only by fusing all of those countless Tao intents with his true and false domain could Wang Lin have advanced from the mid-stage of Nirvana cleanser to late stage in such a short period of time. However, it wasn't over. Under the protection of the heaven-defying bead, while no one noticed, Wang Lin's mind was sucked into the heaven-defying bead. As he constantly comprehended and absorbed the countless Tao intents, his cultivation level began to move toward the peak of the Nirvana cleanser stage. It seemed like not even peak nirvana cleanser was the end as he absorbed the Tao fruit. Something like this had never happened before. Wang Lin was getting infinitely close to peak nirvana cleanser and infinitely close to nirvana shatterer. The gap between nirvana cleanser and nirvana shatterer was huge and often required tens of thousands of years of cultivation to step over. However, after absorbing one of the 7 fruits, this gap was narrowing rapidly. Without this peerless opportunity, if he wanted to go from nirvana cleanser to nirvana shattered, even with countless pills, Wang Lin would need a very long time. However, right now the Tao he had obtained wasn't something he had comprehended himself. It had been absorbed through experiencing countless lives. It would take time to comprehend and transform them all. But right now Wang Lin didn't have time to think about it in detail. He could clearly feel that the heaven-defying bead was absorbing the essence of the fruit and plant like crazy. It was equivalent exchange. The heaven-defying bead had helped him get past this life and death crisis, so it had to absorb enough power in return. Wang Lin wasn't unfamiliar with this state, as he was already aware of its nature. Every time the bead activated, it had to absorb a large amount of origin energy. If I miss this chance, I'll regret it in the future. I'd rather spend time to understand it than miss this opportunity. This was the first time since Wang Lin obtained the heaven-defying bead that he fought with it for power. I am the owner of the heaven-defying bead, not its slave. I completed your 5 elements and found yin and yang energy for you. You saved me from danger and I thank you, but the exchange is already complete. If you take all the benefits, then how am I different from a slave? So what if I steal some of the power from you? I am the owner of the heaven-defying bead. Heaven-defying bead! The ancient voice revealed an unimaginable shock. The space in the star system distorted, and an old man wearing a black robe appeared. He looked at the heaven-defying bead in the middle of the yin-yang symbol, and immediately charged over. However, just as he closed in, he was stopped 100 feet away without being able to get half a step closer. He could only watch helplessly as the red flower that had been painstakingly planted by the sovereign, and then nourished for countless years, be completely absorbed. The plant rapidly wilted until it disappeared from the star system. From now on, the 7 colored flowers were missing one, and only 6 colors remained. After absorbing it all, the yin-yang symbol was also absorbed by the heaven-defying bead. All that remained were the 6 other flowers and the heaven-defying bead. Just at this moment, the heaven-defying bead released a blinding light that shrouded the entire star system. At the same time, a giant illusionary door appeared in the star system. This door was large enough to support the world, and an ancient aura spread out from it. This door was shut tight without any gaps. Leo has a cold, with a sore throat and a bit of dizziness, not daring to promise if there will be a 3rd watch today, doing his utmost to get through. Chapter 1221, The Identity of the Lord of the Sealed Realm. The old man in black stared at everything that happened before him, with eyes filled with disbelief. However, there was also intense greed in them, as his hands formed a seal, and he charged out once more. However, just as he closed in, the giant door slowly opened. The moment it opened, a powerful light shined out and enveloped the old man. A miserable scream echoed, and the old man's eyes became filled with fear. He no longer charged forward, but quickly retreated. Seal, could the Lord of the Sealed Realm have resurrected? Black smoke came from the old man's body as if he was being burnt, revealing his thin body under his robe. His body emitted a lot of smoke, as if even someone as powerful as him would melt before this light. The door opened and an aura that shocked the world spread out. It spread out along the border of the realm sealing formation. The realm sealing formation changed drastically again shortly after Tuo Sen left. Even the last formation spirit that had never appeared before appeared. This last formation spirit was a jade. The moment the jade appeared, countless ripples spread across the realm sealing formation and endless rumbles echoed. At this moment, the powerful people of the ancient star system felt an aura that made their minds tremble. Some of the old monsters that had lived for far too long weren't unfamiliar with this aura. This aura not only made them tremble, it made their minds go blank and replaced their thoughts with fear. Lord of the Sealed Realm. Compared to the outer realm, the people of the Sealed Realm didn't feel as much of an impact. Only the most powerful people in the 4-star systems felt it. In the God sect, inside a chamber, sat a boy. This person looked like a boy, but his hair was gray. He sat there as if he hadn't moved for countless years. However, just at this moment his eyelids trembled and he suddenly opened his eyes. Master Sora! In the rain celestial realm, Wang Lin was silently cultivating, trying to recover his power as much as possible. However, at his moment, his eyes shined like they had never shined before. He suddenly stood up, looked into the distance, and let out a deep breath. Teacher! The wind celestial realm was filled with countless mosquito beasts. On a collapsed celestial realm fragment sat an elder. This old man looked like a statue as his body had turned to stone. However, at this moment, cracks appeared on the eyes of the statue. As cracking sounds echoed, this old man seemed to open a pair of eyes that hadn't been open for a very long time. That old man Sora, the old man's eyes, revealed a strange light as countless memories awakened from their slumber and filled his brain. After a long time, he closed his eyes and became a statue once more. In the star system under the lightning celestial realm, a woman was standing on top of a mountain on a cultivation planet. She looked at the sky with reminiscences and confusion in her eyes. I can remember whose aura is this, it says, very familiar. Very familiar. At this moment, on a cultivation planet in the star system under the lightning celestial realm, there was a youth sleeping on a mountain. His body trembled as he looked up and started into the distance. After a long time, he scratched his head. Scared this old man to death. I thought it was those old fellows coming down from the celestial domain to catch me. But why does this aura feel somewhat familiar? This youth was the person who escaped from the crack during Wang Lin's divine retribution. The moment the door formed by the heaven-defying bead opened, a person slowly walked out. The old man that was retreating and constantly dissipating in the light from the door was frightened, but soon he frowned. It's not the Lord of the Sealed Realm. Could this person be the second Lord of the Sealed Realm? His aura isn't strong. The aura that makes me feel terror is in the door behind this person. The person who walked out from the door was Wang Lin. He didn't have his body. He was only an origin soul. The old man's eyes lit up. Then he clenched his teeth and waved his right hand. A black fog appeared around him, and he charged ahead. Kill this person and steal the heaven-defying bead. If I can do this, I don't need to worry about the sovereign. This old man was now surrounded by the black fog. He resisted the powerful light with force and closed in on Wang Lin, but his black fog was dissipating. A black claw reached out from the fog and mercilessly clawed at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He felt the source origin energy of a third-step cultivator closing in on him, but he was extremely calm. He coldly looked at the claw closing in on him and took a step back into the door of the heaven-defying bead. When the old man was close, the heaven-defying bead's gate released a powerful light. At the same time, a giant arm appeared outside the gate and mercilessly reached toward the old man. The black fog around the old man exploded into a surge of source origin energy to resist the huge arm so he could have the opportunity to kill Wang Lin. However, the collapse of the black fog didn't cause the arm to pause one bit. It instantly reached toward the old man. No matter how much the old man tried to dodge, he couldn't avoid the arm. He clenched his teeth. Then the old man bit the tip of his tongue to spit out blood, and his body multiplied into 3 of him. 2 of them charged toward the arm and 1 of them charged toward Wang Lin. Just at this moment, the giant arm formed a fist, and its speed doubled as it swept by the 2 clones of the old man. Then it quickly withdrew and grabbed the old man charging at Wang Lin, and it mercilessly squeezed. If my original body was here, I might have had a chance to fight. But now the old man revealed a wry smile as he let out a sigh before his body dissipated. From beginning to end, Wang Lin had an indifferent expression that didn't change at all. After the old man dissipated, the gate behind Wang Lin flashed once more and rapidly shrank. The door became a blur and disappeared back into the heaven-defying bead. It took Wang Lin's origin soul and left. Then it broke out of the star system and disappeared without a trace. The 7-colored realm had been dark for 100 years. On this day, a bright light appeared in the sky above the mountain in the deepest part of the 7-colored realm. The moment this light enveloped the 7-colored realm, a vague illusion with confusion in his eyes appeared. He let out a sigh as he looked at the body covered in dust on top of the mountain. It was like a dream that lasted for many years, the illusion murmured as it gradually merged with the body on the mountain. After a long time, Wang Lin opened his eyes and popping sounds echoed inside his body. The dust was immediately blown away. After sleeping for 100 years, he once again stood up. The moment he stood up, the aura of a late-stage Nirvana cleanser cultivator spread out from his body. This aura continued to rise until it broke through to the peak of the Nirvana cleanser stage. However, it didn't stop there. It increased like crazy once more. It was attempting to reach the Nirvana Shatterer stage. The amount of Tao intent and origin energy he had absorbed from one of the flowers was extremely large. Although the heaven-defying bead had absorbed a majority of it, because Wang Lin had taken the initiative to take from the heaven-defying bead for the first time, he still got a lot. At this moment, his hair moved without any wind, and his body gave off a strange aura. A fire tattoo formed in his left eye, and a lightning tattoo formed in his right eye. They flew out and fused into one. There was also the vague outline of the word battle in it. This was a mark that had never appeared in the world. It was a completely new law. At this moment, as the mark flashed, it landed between Wang Lin's eyebrows and became one with his true and false domain. A yin and yang-like mark suddenly appeared outside his fused thunder and fire tattoo and slowly rotated. Eventually, it gave off a demonic glow before shrinking until it looked like a star. It then hid itself between his eyebrows. No matter how you looked at this star, it looked very similar to a star of an ancient god. If a 9-star ancient god had formed this star made of law, many would mistaken this ancient god to be a 10-star ancient god. The moment this law star appeared, Wang Lin's body gave off the aura of a Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. This aura was earth-shatteringly powerful. Wang Lin took a deep breath and his eyes shined. He raised his right hand, quickly formed seals, and pointed at this body. His face turned slightly red, but he didn't stop and pointed even more. After placing down countless seals, he finally stopped. The Nirvana Shatterer aura from his body gradually dissipated until it was hidden under the numerous restrictions. This aura is enough to make my cultivation reach the peak of the early stage of Nirvana Shatterer, but this is from comprehension I don't fully understand yet. If I don't fully comprehend all the Tao I absorbed, using this cultivation will make it almost impossible for me to advance. It will have way too much of an impact on my future cultivation. However, giving it up now would be a pity, so let's seal it first, and once I have thoroughly comprehended all the Tao intent I absorbed, I can release the seals one by one. At that time, there will be no harm. It will also make my cultivation even stronger. Wang Lin took a deep breath, and there was a flash of coldness in his eyes. With my peak Nirvana cleanser cultivation that is half a step into the Nirvana Shatterer stage, combined with my ancient god body, my spells, and magical treasures, I wonder how strong I am. Can I win against late-stage Nirvana Shatterer cultivators or even peak Nirvana Shatterer cultivators? I should be able to win against late-stage Nirvana Shatterer cultivators. But as for peak Nirvana Shatterer cultivators, since I haven't battled one, I don't know if there is a chance. I should fight one. The mark hidden between Wang Lin's eyebrows flashed uncontrollably, and a powerful battle intent enveloped him. Wang Lin took a deep breath and suppressed the star and frown. He knew that this was the result of him not completely understanding the Taoist he had absorbed. It is time to leave. I wonder how the mosquito beast is doing after all these years. Also, how long did I sleep inside the flower for? It should have been at least 20 to 30 years. Wang Lin's eyes were bright and filled with self-confidence as he walked forward. He left the mountain and flew straight ahead. Now that this is over, I should go to the Wind Celestial Realm. If I can gather a large amount of mosquito beasts, I can even try to break into the God sect. I just don't know if Tuo Sen has awakened yet. At this moment in the ancient star system, among the boundless stars, Tuo Sen stared at the stars. He clenched his teeth, feeling extremely gloomy. He was filled with anger and wanted to destroy every living thing he saw. He had put a lot of effort into breaking through that formation. In the end, at the cost of collapsing a star and sacrificing the third step cultivator sealed in his stars. He was barely able to get through the sealing formation to devour Wang Lin. However, right now, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't find Wang Lin's aura. He is not inside the sealed realm and not in the outer realm, but his aura was inside the realm sealing formation. Could he be hiding inside the sealing formation? But that is impossible with his cultivation level. He roared at the sky and his eyes became bloodshot. He became aware of some ancient cultivators in a starfield in the distance. Without anywhere to vent his rage, he shook his fist and rushed in that direction. Damned Wang Lin, this god will find you one day. I'll devour you to appease the anger in my heart. Leo goes to the hospital with his wife, then directly to pick up his daughter from school, continuing the storytelling upon return. Chapter 1222 Master Cloud Soul Yields. Wang Lin stepped outside the mountain while pondering. The crack above the mountain had disappeared along with all the light, and the seven-colored realm had entered darkness once more. Looking at the darkness before him, Wang Lin's divine sense spread out. Just as he was about to leave, he was startled and looked down at a valley below. "Come out and see me!" Wang Lin's voice was calm, but it contained a majesty that couldn't be refused. His cold voice echoed inside the valley like a blast of cold wind. The entire seven-colored realm trembled. It was like the word of law. Anyone who heard it would feel their mind tremble. Master Cloud Soul was sitting inside a cave in the valley. He had awakened the moment the light appeared above the mountain, and Wang Lin returned. Following that, he felt panic and an inexplicable sense of fear. He vaguely guessed that the person from 100 years ago seemed to have returned. His killing intent from years ago had mostly dissipated with the passage of time. Just as he was hesitating, he felt an aura that almost made him lose his wits appear. At the same time, those cold words crashed into his body from all directions and landed directly on his origin soul. His face was pale, and a thunderous rumble seemed to echo inside his ears. A faint blue flame appeared around him as if it was burning him, and thunder spread across the entire flame, causing his body to feel numb. What shocked him even more was the crazed battle intent inside his heart. If he could vent this battle intent, it would be fine, but it was locked inside his body. This battle intent burned his origin soul, so much so that the pain even caused him to let out a miserable groan even with his cultivation level. What made him feel even more terrified was that he had a powerful feeling that if he didn't go out immediately, the other party only needed but a thought to kill him. How could he be this strong? Master Cloud Soul's face was completely pale and filled with fear. He could clearly feel that the difference between the Wang Lin now and the Wang Lin from years ago was like the distance between heaven and earth. Master Cloud Soul charged out of the cave without any hesitation and saw Wang Lin floating in the sky. The moment he saw Wang Lin, his mind went blank and the pounding of his heart replaced everything. The surroundings were completely silent without a single sound, but in Master Cloud C's mind the world had become Wang Lin's palm. He was trapped inside Wang Lin's palm with no chance of escape. His life was no longer in his own control, but in the hands of the person before him. In particular, he got a strange feeling from between Wang Lin's eyebrows. Although there was nothing there, he felt like there was an eye staring at him. The eye contained a law he couldn't imagine. He felt like the blue flame, thunder, and battle intent that could collapse his origin soul had all come from that third eye. Back when Wang Lin distorted his transfer, making him appear in a valley filled with fierce beasts, although he felt fear, it was insignificant compared to this moment. In his view, the aura Wang Lin gave off could sweep the entire seven-colored realm, and he was like an ant before Wang Lin. This feeling became stronger and stronger, causing Master Cloud Soul's face to become even more pale. Wang Lin coldly looked at Master Cloud Soul and raised his right hand. He pointed at the void and his cold gaze collided with Master Cloud Soul. A strange mark appeared from Wang Lin's right hand and slowly flew toward Master Cloud Soul. This mark wasn't fast, and if Master Cloud Soul wanted to dodge, it would be very easy. However, before Wang Lin's stare cold, sweat came from Master Cloud Soul's forehead, and he didn't dare to move. He had a strong feeling that if he dared to move, what awaited him would be a slaughter. He believed that Wang Lin could do it, and even instantly kill him. This was a sense of prediction he had gained from countless years of cultivation. He had never felt it as clearly as today. He helplessly looked at the mark closing in and began to struggle, but in the end he gave up all resistance. He allowed the mark to embed itself deeply between his eyebrows. The moment the mark landed, the blue flame, thunder, and battle intent inside his origin soul gathered between his eyebrows. They fused with the mark, and after flashing a few times it disappeared. Master Cloud Soul secretly let out a breath of relief. Then he became very respectful and whispered, "This old slave greets master." With his cultivation level, he could naturally see that the mark was not to kill, but to control. Although the other party hadn't explicitly said it, Wang Lin's actions revealed his intent. Either live as Wang Lin's slave, or die. This was indeed Wang Lin's idea. If Master Cloud's soul didn't yield, he wouldn't mind killing him. Wang Lin withdrew his gaze from Master Cloud's soul and calmly asked, "How long have I been asleep for?" Master Cloud's soul felt bitter in his heart, but there was no unwillingness in it. However, there was a trace of confusion, especially when he thought about the Wang Lin from 100 years ago. He couldn't help but let out a sigh. When he heard the question, he quickly and respectfully answered, "Master has been asleep for 99 years. Wang Lin's expression was neutral, but his heart was shocked. He stared at the dark world before him and silently pondered. So this much time has passed. Master Cloud's soul didn't dare to disturb Wang Lin's pondering. He just looked at Wang Lin with a complicated expression. He could have never dreamt that the person he looked at with disdain 100 years ago would become his master. A moment later, Wang Lin's body trembled, and he flew off into the distance. Master Cloud's soul followed after, and sighed in his heart. With Wang Lin's current cultivation level, he moved very fast and arrived at Simamoa's valley. Due to Wang Lin's will, this place was spared when the fire and thunder swept across the seven-colored realm. He waved his right hand. Wang Lin walked into the valley. Master Cloud's soul respectfully stood outside the valley. Without Wang Lin's command, he wouldn't dare to enter even half a step. Inside the valley, Wang Lin looked at the familiar scene. These 100 years had passed by so quickly that he was caught unprepared, which made him feel a sense of crisis. Tuo Sen should have already escaped. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he went straight for the first cave. His divine sense spread out, and he let out a sigh of relief. Inside the countless restrictions in the first cave, all the origin crystals had been used up, and all the beast souls were gone. The mosquito beast was lying on the ground with a cocoon-like structure around it. It was extremely weak and seemed to have no strength to break free. The moment Wang Lin's divine sense entered, the weakened mosquito beast immediately opened its eyes. There was a hint of confusion in them, but soon they filled up with joy. It began to struggle, but at this time, it still lacked enough origin crystals to complete its transformation, so it couldn't break free. After Wang Lin saw this, his heart ached as he opened the cave and went inside. His right hand reached at the void, and a crack to this storage space opened. All the origin crystals he had flew out. The moment these origin crystals appeared, they released dense origin energy and flew toward the cocoon. The mosquito beast started absorbing them so it could continue its metamorphosis. "Go bring Chen Tianjun here. He should still be alive." Wang Lin's divine sense message penetrated out of the valley and entered Master Cloud's soul's mind. Master Cloud's soul respectfully acknowledged before he charged off into the distance. Chen Tianjun was sitting inside the same cave from 100 years ago. His mind felt very complicated during these 100 years, and his hopes of leaving seemed to have disappeared. He often stared blankly at the dark world before him and thought about his life before entering here. Teacher and my fellow brothers should be in the rank region on the battlefield against the fierce beasts that where I should be. I shouldn't be here. He had spent the last years alone in this dark world. He had become desperate, but the moment Wang Lin awakened, that bright light that appeared in the darkness made Chen Tianjun tremble. He wanted to leave this place. He wanted to leave this place very much. This kind of anxious mood was enough to burn his soul. He suddenly stood up before he rushed out and looked into the distance, and his mind trembled. He came back. Just as he waited anxiously, Chen Tianjun immediately saw the ray of light in the distance. He saw Master Cloud's soul inside the light, and immediately felt his heart skip a beat, and he retreated a few steps. He became very cautious. Master Cloud's soul floated in the air and coldly looked at Chen Tianjun. He slowly said, "Fellow cultivator Chen, Master wants to see you. Please follow me." "Master?" Chen Tianjun was startled, and after silently pondering for a bit, he seemed to remember something. He took a deep breath and followed Master Cloud's soul without a word. Shortly after, Chen Tianjun arrived in Simamoa's valley. He clearly felt Wang Lin's aura here, and his eyes revealed ecstasy. "Fellow cultivator Chen, please come in," Wang Lin's voice said from inside the valley. Chen Tianjun excitedly entered the valley. He immediately saw Wang Lin's figure outside a cave. Brother Lu, when Chen Tianjun saw Wang Lin, his voice trembled in excitement. After 100 years of waiting, the day had finally come. Even he found it difficult to control his mood. "Did you get enough origin crystals?" Wang Lin nodded slightly. Enough. More than enough. Chen Tianjun raised his hand and opened a crack to the storage space. He took out a bag of holding and respectfully handed it to Wang Lin. After Wang Lin accepted it, he scanned it with his divine sense before leaving one sentence and walking into the cave. Wait for me. I'll take you out of here. Chen Tianjun had waited 100 years for this. He took a deep breath and suppressed his excitement. He then looked up at the dark sky. At this moment, even the dark sky seemed brighter. We can finally leave. Leo steps out without his laptop charger. The computer has no power, so he reads the chapters using his phone, typing manually. Tears are flowing. Chapter 1223. Shocking change. Inside the first cave, Wang Lin opened the bag of holding. There were a lot of origin crystals inside. It seemed that Chen Tianjun had indeed been earnestly collecting them. He waved his right hand and all the origin crystals from the bag were dumped out on the surrounding restrictions. Popping sounds echoed as all the origin crystals Wang Lin had placed before had all their origin energy drained and dissipated into dust. As they dissipated, the new origin crystals fell. Large amounts of origin energy entered the mosquito beast through the restrictions. Large amounts of vitality entered the mosquito's body, and it slowly recovered from its weakened state. The purple on its body disappeared and was replaced by a faint golden glow. The golden light was very dim, but when it appeared, the mosquito's body released pressure. 100 years of refining with enough origin crystals to make any sect's heartache, along with a special method, finally allowed the mosquito beast to successfully transform. As origin energy continued to enter it, the mosquito beast looked better and better, and it began to struggle and roar. Finally, when about 70% of the origin crystals in the bag were consumed, the mosquito beast let out a roar and rushed out of the cocoon. The moment it flew out, its sharp mouth stabbed into the cocoon and sucked it dry. The loud roar echoed out of the cave. The pale golden mosquito beast was very cheerful as it circled Wang Lin. Its large mouth kept licking Wang Lin, and it seemed very excited. The size of the mosquito beast had changed. It was now only 30 feet long, but it gave off an aura that rivaled Nirvana cleanser cultivators. Wang Lin smiled as he waved his right hand to put the mosquito away. The mosquito beast was his ace, and before he had his own horde, he wouldn't let others see it. After walking out from the cave, Wang Lin pondered a bit, and then took away all things in the caves, including the giant pill furnace. As for the caves with the lost ones and enlightened ones, they were now all empty. All of them had died in his battle with the white-haired old man when the white-haired old man summoned all of their Tao intents. Even the old man in the 8th cave had disappeared without a trace. There were only bones and ashes on the ground now. Although Sima Mo had found all his sect members, none of them had awakened, and they all dissipated. Wang Lin let out a sigh as he stood outside the 6th cave and his hand pressed down on the stone gate. The time restriction rippled, but at this moment, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and his right fist mercilessly smashed into it. A powerful impact came from Wang Lin and landed on the rock. Also, the star formed by Wang Lin's law flashed at this moment. There was a heaven-shaking rumble as the rock under his fist cracked and collapsed. Chen Tianjun personally saw this. He gasped and looked at Wang Lin in awe. Even Master Cloud's soul outside the valley noticed it, and his mind trembled. The moment he opened the rock, Wang Lin could clearly feel that he was much stronger than before. This feeling was very good. Wang Lin entered the cave, picked up the jade inside and scanned it with his divine sense. Just as he expected, the jade contained the method of the time restriction. Using the same method, Wang Lin opened the 7th cave and also took the jade inside. Wang Lin scanned it with his divine sense, and after memorizing the time restriction, he crushed the jade. The time restriction was one of the 4 great restrictions, and even Sima Mo required 100 years to learn it. This restriction was so profound that it needed careful studying to learn. It was also powerful, and if Wang Lin's cultivation level hadn't increased greatly, or he didn't have great knowledge in restrictions, or he hadn't inherited the annihilation restriction, he could not have broken it so easily. In addition, the most important part was that Sima Mo hadn't learned the true essence of the time restriction. After all, he didn't have enough time and only just barely learned it. Wang Lin wouldn't allow others to learn it from the jade due to his negligence. Therefore, he destroyed the jade so that only he could master it. This ninth cave had the most restrictions and was also the most mysterious among all of Sima Moa's caves. Wang Lin saw 7 colored fog inside but couldn't see inside the fog. Moving forward, he arrived outside the ninth cave. He placed his right hand on the rock and pressed down. Ripples spread across the rock and it slowly became transparent. Wang Lin's eyes were like lightning as he looked inside the cave and saw the 7 colored fog that seemed to have existed for an eternity. The 7 colored light seemed to leak out from the cave, lighting up this dark valley. Looking at the 7 colored fog inside the cave, Wang Lin vaguely saw something. At the center of the 7 colored fog was a skeleton. It was the corpse of a beast, and it looked like a small deer. However, there was a short sword stabbed into the beast's bones. The moment Wang Lin saw this, his eyes lit up. He clearly remembered that he had seen something like this before in the 7 colored realm. He didn't understand what this meant. After pondering for a long time, Wang Lin's right fist fell on the rock. Popping sounds echoed, but the rock didn't collapse. Wang Lin frowned. Then his hands formed another fist, and he let out a cold snort. There was a loud rumble, and the entire valley seemed to tremble. The amount of cracks increased until the rock shattered into countless fragments. The 7 colored fog didn't change at all due to the collapse of the rock. It still stayed in a blob and moved strangely. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he slowly walked into the cave. He stopped outside the fog and began to carefully observe it with his divine sense. After a long time, Wang Lin's expression changed and he saw some clues. This fog hadn't appeared out of nowhere. It seemed to have come from skeleton of the deer. Interesting. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he raised his right hand to reach into the fog, but his expression suddenly changed and his right hand stopped. At his moment, he could clearly feel the Allseer's origin soul struggling to charge out from the 18 Hell Celestial sealing stamp. This was the first time a soul that was sealed and removed from the reincarnation cycle showed signs of struggle when it wasn't summoned. Wang Lin's mind immediately entered the 18 Hell Celestial sealing stamp. He swept through the 18 layers of hell to where the Allseer's soul was and fused with it without any hesitation. Wang Lin's aura gradually changed drastically. He no longer looked like Wang Lin but became the All-Seer. He was calm, as if everything in the world was under his control and nothing could move him. Feeling the Allseer's soul, Wang Lin could clearly sense the soul's desire for the 7 colored fog. This desire was very strong. It was obvious from its attempt to break out from the celestial sealing stamp. Desire, I want to see what use this 7 colored fog has to you. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a 7 colored light and his right hand reached into the fog. Just at this instant, the 7 colored fog churned and entered Wang Lin's right hand. Soon, all the 7 colored fog disappeared, but more appeared from the beast bone, and that new fog was also absorbed by Wang Lin's right hand. The fog entered Wang Lin's origin energy and went directly into the celestial sealing stamp. The Allseer's soul began to absorb it like crazy, and as he absorbed, it was as if he had gone from being an illusion to having flesh and blood. Wang Lin felt like he was looking at the real All-Seer rather than a fusion of 2 souls from the All-Seer's avatars. Time slowly passed. After 15 minutes, the beast bone no longer gave off 7 colored fog. All the fog that went into Wang Lin's body was absorbed by the All-Seer's soul. The All-Seer's soul sat down as if he was cultivating to digest. The feeling that Wang Lin disliked a lot became more and more clear. Very interesting. Wang Lin observed for a while and then withdrew his divine sense. His gaze fell on the short word inside the beast's bones. Wang Lin pulled out the sword and carefully looked at it. There was also a seal on it, and it was exactly the same as the one he got before. The moment he pulled out the sword, the beast bone turned into ashes. After pondering a bit, Wang Lin knew it was not the time to release the seal. He put away the short sword and walked out of the cave. Looking at the dark sky, Wang Lin softly said, "Let us leave." With that, he moved and took Chen Tianjun out of the valley. Master Cloud's soul followed as they charged toward the edge of the 7 colored realm. The 3 of them quickly moved with Wang Lin as the lead, and an aura suddenly appeared in the distance. It was the old woman in green. She seemed very hesitant and didn't dare to come in too close, instead opting to follow behind them. The 4 rays of light flew across the sky and arrived at the edge of the 7 colored realm. They arrived at where the altar was when they arrived, but the altar had collapsed. Standing here, Wang Lin's hands formed a seal, and the method to leave he had obtained from Master Ashen Pine's memories appeared in his mind. His hands moved faster and faster, and seals appeared in the void. As it gave off a gentle light, a hidden crack seemed to slowly open. However, just at this instant, Wang Lin's expression changed, his hands stopped, and his head looked up at the dark sky. At this moment, a giant vortex appeared out of nowhere. When it appeared, it seemed to cause the dark sky to collapse and made the fragments of the sky part of the vortex. Two ruthless gazes that had been marked by the passage of time appeared within the vortex and fell on Wang Lin. "You've devoured my Tao fruit, and you want to just leave like this." Leo's speech is often puzzling. What with all the wishing for likes on the video and sharing Leo's work, leading the audience to erupt in laughter, the comments section filled with a lively atmosphere. Chapter 1224. Palm. This sound was like thunder descending from the sky, causing the earth to tremble. Countless cracks appeared on the earth as if it was going to collapse. The sound of collapse was hidden in the darkness and came from all directions. The moment this sound appeared, a pressure came from all directions and slowly descended. As the pressure descended, the seven-colored realm seemed to become a void where endless power began to rush in from all directions. Chen Tianjun was the weakest person here. Just under this pressure, his origin soul trembled and blood came out from the corner of his mouth. He subconsciously took several steps back as his expression changed greatly, and he took out pills to devour to help him resist this pressure. Master Cloud Soul's face was pale as he stared at the sky. He looked at the pair of eyes and felt like he was naked under the gaze. Popping sounds came from his body, and his face became even more pale. The old woman in green's pupils shrank and her face became pale. An illusion appeared around her as she quickly changed between an old woman and a beautiful middle-aged woman. Only Wang Lin stood tall. As the pressure descended on him, the area around him began to distort. It was as if there was a law around him that didn't seem to mix with the world. He stared at the eyes in the vortex and remained silent, but his right hand gradually formed a fist. "I want to bully you. If you can survive this palm, I'll let you live." The voice from inside the vortex sounded tired as it slowly spread out. The moment this voice fell, the vortex in the sky rotated rapidly. The speed of the rotation immediately reached a peak. As it stirred up the sky, even the eyes became hidden inside the vortex. The vortex roared loudly and the world seemed to start to collapse before Wang Lin's eyes. Just at this instant, the vortex descended with the power to destroy the world. It was as if all life was going to be torn apart and become part of the vortex. As the vortex descended, the earth trembled violently, and the sounds of endless tearing echoed in the darkness. Chen Tianjun coughed out blood. As the vortex descended, his origin soul trembled violently. Master Cloud Soul and the old woman in green all trembled, and their eyes were filled with panic. The vortex descended even faster, pressing down on the earth. Wang Lin's eyes flashed cold, and he jumped into the air like a meteor. He charged straight into the sky and threw a heaven-shaking punch at the vortex in the sky. A heaven-shaking rumble echoed across the seven-colored realm like roaring thunder. Countless bolts of thunder flashed in the sky along with the punch. Like millions of silver snakes, they lit up the world. The countless thunderbolts had appeared due to Wang Lin's punch. When the punch landed, the thunder all gathered on Wang Lin's right fist, forming an unimaginable impact that shot up at the sky. The thunderous rumble continued to echo, but the vortex didn't stop at all and mercilessly pressed down on Wang Lin. Floating in the air, Wang Lin's clothes made a lot of noise. He could clearly feel that the suction from the vortex wanted to suck out his origin soul, suck out his origin energy, and crush his body. "Do you all want to wait here to die or rush out with me?" Wang Lin's words echoed like a blast of cold wind that landed in the ears of the three people below. Master Cloud's soul clenched his teeth and jumped to the left of Wang Lin. He waved his sleeves, causing countless soul fragments to appear, and they let out shrill cries. Master Cloud Soul's expression became ferocious. The old woman in green was pale, but she didn't hesitate to charge out and stand to the right of Wang Lin. Her hands formed a seal and a mist appeared around her. The mist was blood red and contained the aura of life and death. There were a large amount of restrictions flashing inside. Chen Tianjun was the last person to fly out. He stood below Wang Lin. He waved his hand, and all the pores on his body opened up. The aura of beast souls appeared until more than 10 beast souls were surrounding him. Among them, there were 2 rank 12 beast souls. Although they were extremely weak and not as mighty as when they were still alive, it was still shocking. Wang Lin didn't look at the 3 around him. The star made of law flashed between his eyebrows. Then he waved his right hand, and the trident appeared. He gripped it tightly in his hand. What about the power of one palm? Wang Lin rushed out while laughing at the vortex descending from the sky. It looked like the sky was collapsing and was going to crash down to the earth. All life would be crushed. No chance for survival. As Wang Lin continued to charge, the thunder around him flashed like crazy and battle intent filled his body. An unexpected desire to contend against the world began to form. Even if the sky was going to collapse, he would find a way to charge through and kill the heavens. Under this battle intent, Master Cloud's soul let out a roar, and the soul fragments around him began to gather. He took out a black awl and spat blood on it as if releasing a seal. The awl immediately gave off an ancient aura as he rushed out after Wang Lin toward the vortex. Master Cloud's soul's blood seemed to be boiling. If he could charge out, he would live. If not, he would die. The old woman in green's face was without blood, but her eyes were bright and determined. She waved her right hand and the mist around her split into 2. One was life and the other was death, and they coiled around her like 2 dragons. The life and death fog dragons charged out with her as she followed Wang Lin. Chen Tianjun followed as all the beast souls roared and gathered around him. They let out roars of struggle for survival as they charged out like crazy. The 4 rays of light closed in on the vortex in the sky, with Wang Lin leading the way. They got closer and closer. An instant later they collided. Wang Lin was filled with battle intent as he waved the trident and began his attack on the vortex. His body was filled with the power of an ancient god, as he moved like a meteor that could break all barriers in the world. He ripped a hole in the vortex. However, the vortex was too big. When it shrouded them, Chen Tianjun was the first that couldn't withstand it. The beast souls around him collapsed, and his body trembled before he exploded, and was absorbed by the vortex. His origin soul struggled to escape, but the vortex was too strong, and he was about to be pulled in. "Your promise to take me out. You're promised." Chen Tianjun's origin soul released a miserable divine sense message. The moment his message echoed, Wang Lin suddenly turned around and his right hand reached out. He grabbed Chen Tianjun's origin soul and began fighting with the power of the vortex. With a bang, Chen Tianjun's origin soul was split in half. One part was devoured by the vortex, and the other half was taken by Wang Lin. Wang Lin charged at the gap in the vortex. The moment Master Cloud's soul charged into the vortex, popping sounds echoed in his body, and he coughed out blood. All the soul fragments around him died, and even the magic treasure collapsed. However, the magic treasure wasn't ordinary, and by using its collapse, he rushed into the gap Wang Lin had opened. The old woman in green clenched her teeth and charged at the gap. Under the powerful suction force, all her life and death restrictions broke and she coughed out blood. Seeing the suction force increase and the gap closing fast, she formed a seal. Then she pointed to between her eyebrows and caused her body to tremble. A figure appeared on her right and another on her left. One was an old woman, and the other was a middle-aged woman. The moment these 2 figures appeared, they chose to self-destruct. She was able to find a path to survive at this moment of danger. With the power of the double self-destruction, the old woman in green was able to get through the gap in the vortex. However, this wasn't over, it had just began. The vortex went through everyone and landed on the ground. A thunderous rumble echoed as the earth trembled and began to move. 5 towering mountains suddenly appeared. Looking down from where Wang Lin was, he could clearly see everything. His blood continued to come out from the corner of his mouth, and there was no joy in escaping. As he stared at the earth, his eyes revealed disbelief and fear. The old woman beside him was far too injured and looked dispirited, but her eyes revealed the same level of fear. This entire earth unexpectedly became a giant palm at this moment. The 5 towering mountains were the 5 fingers of the palm. The large amount of cracks that had appeared on the ground were the palm's palm print. This palm's size was beyond imagination. The palm made up of the 7-colored realm slowly gave off an aura far more powerful than the vortex. What was the power of a palm? The 7-colored realm was the palm, the mountains were fingers, and the cracks on the land were the palm prints. This was the power of a palm mentioned by the ancient voice. At this moment, Wang Lin, Master Cloud Soul, and the old woman in green were still inside the seven-colored realm, which was inside the palm. The tired ancient words echoed inside Wang Lin's mind. The meaning of these words was still very obvious. Escape the palm and they will live. Just at this moment, the palm formed by the seven-colored realm began to slowly close. A majestic aura spread, and a thunderous rumble echoed as the fingers closed in. It was as if the palm wanted to crush the ants at its center. There was no fear in Wang Lin's eyes, and a powerful battle intent filled his body and his blood seemed to boil. Between his eyebrows, 6 blurry ancient god stars rotated rapidly, and at the center was the star made of the law of his domain. At a glance, he looked like a 7-star ancient god. Let us fight. Wang Lin held the trident and swept it to the side of his body. He was like a battle celestial as he rushed down. Leo holds a stuffed bear close to his chest, muttering prayers for likes on the video, sprinkling followers in his shares, as the children beside him start to crave. Chapter 122, Kill Him. Of the 10 people from the War God Shrine, aside from Mai Liang, who had left 4 days ago, only the 3 of them remained. Zhou Zihong let out a sigh as she looked back at the strange creatures closing in on them. She closed her eyes in despair as she involuntarily thought of Mai Liang. That Mai Liang has always been as timid as a mouse and is very afraid of death, but he just happens to be very thick-skinned. Junior apprentice Sister Tong couldn't stand him bugging her anymore and thought of throwing him into the foreign battleground to get rid of him. If it wasn't for the fact that I pity him and helped him out many times, he would have already died. At least he still has a conscience. A few days ago, he gave me a pill that he said would help me maintain my age. I wonder if it is true. Her heart filled with despair. She couldn't help but start to think crazy thoughts. Just at that moment, she suddenly heard senior brother Yang beside her shout, "Mai Liang! Quickly, run now!" Zhou Zihong was startled and opened her eyes. She saw a youth flying their way. He was very handsome, but his eyes contained a hint of coldness, and there were bloodstains on his chest. "Junior brother Mai, it looks like it will be hard for us to escape this disaster." Ah, senior brother Yang sighed. He looked about 30, and there was sadness on his face. Wang Lin looked at the 3, and didn't say a word. At that moment, the creatures chasing them stopped as they saw Wang Lin and revealed hesitant expressions. Wang Lin snorted and sent out a message with his divine sense. Scram! More than 10 wandering souls suddenly panicked and ran away. They disappeared without a trace. Zhou Zihong stared dumbfoundedly at the scene before her. She didn't know why those scary creatures would suddenly just leave. She turned her head toward Wang Lin as a crazy thought came to her mind. Could these scary creatures be afraid of Mai Liang? But shortly after, she dismissed the speculation. The other 2 War God Shrine disciples were also confused. But the relief of surviving such a dangerous situation hit them, and they finally let out a breath. Senior brother Yang was the oldest of them. He considered the situation and said, "Junior apprentice sister, although those strange creatures have left, it is still not safe to stay here. We should go to the transfer array and quickly leave." Zhou Zihong shivered and nodded, then said, "Junior brother Mai, you are the weakest of us, so you mustn't let those things touch you. If they touch you, you will die." The other War God Shrine disciple impatiently said, "What are you guys still blabbering about? If you guys aren't leaving, I am going by myself." With that, he moved and quickly charged out. Wang Lin knew that this person was called Ling Tao thanks to Mai Liang's memories. Senior brother Yang went too because he didn't want to stay here. Zhou Zihong hesitated a bit and said, "Be careful." Then she followed them as well. This whole time, Wang Lin still hadn't had a chance to speak, but he casually followed them. The reason he saved the 3, aside from his own reasons, was because he knew from Mai Liang's memories that Mai Liang was very grateful toward Zhou Zihong. Since he took Mai Liang's body, he felt like he should help Mai Liang do a few things. The 3 of them were very careful as they flew. They were even very cautious when taking out pills to recover their spiritual energy. Zhou Zihong even took out an extra pill and handed it over to Wang Lin. He stared at the pill and couldn't help but think of his heaven-defying bead. The liquid the bead soaked in was the best medication. Unfortunately, the bag of holding containing the gourds and all of his treasures was crushed by Tang Huayuan. Wang Lin secretly sighed. He could feel the heaven-defying bead in his soul. He could feel the sword that he blood-refined in his soul as well. However, this was not the right time to check if he still had it. After pondering for a while, Wang Lin was even more determined to find a place to enter closed-door cultivation once he leaves. The cultivators inside the foreign battleground noticed that in these past few days, the speed at which the place was collapsing seemed to slow down a bit. But this was pointless to them because compared to the foreign battleground collapsing, those strange creatures were scarier. With the space collapsing, at most you would just see people disappearing, but if someone was attacked by the strange creatures, they would be screaming in pain in front of your eyes. The creatures would then leave behind a mummified corpse. If these cultivators could choose how they die, they would choose dying to the space collapsing over being devoured. There were 4 total large transfer arrays inside the foreign battleground. The direction Wang Lin's group was flying toward was the closest one. Wang Lin didn't really care which transfer array they went to. The transfer arrays can only transfer people who meet a certain requirement. Anyone who enters the foreign battleground receives a piece of jade. Aside from protection from the steel wind, the other thing it does is it allows one to use the transfer array. Wang Lin didn't have a jade from Zhao, so he had no way of going back through the transfer array. Also, he was currently using Mai Liang's body, so it was best he go back to Mai Liang's home country of Hofen. This was the other reason why he saved Zhou Zihong's group, to steal a jade. Of course, if he could find Xu Hao and Jie Yang, then that would be the best case. These two had already been set as must-kill targets by Wang Lin. This was not to get revenge for Mai Liang, but the two of them knew that Mai Liang should be been dead. To prevent any issues in the future, those two must die. On the way, Wang Lin used Mai Liang's memories to tell his 3 neighbors about Xu Hao and Jie Yang. All of the wandering souls in the foreign battleground became his eyes and ears. If the two ever show up, his 3 neighbors will instantly tell him. If there was still no news of them at the very end, that would mean Xu Hao and Jie Yang had already died. After flying for an entire week, Zhou Zihong's group of 3 was very shocked to find that the wandering souls seemed to completely ignore them. Some would obviously charge toward them, but they would make a sudden turn and go around them. It can be said that along the way, the 3 were scared, but never in any danger. In the end, they were so used to this that when they saw those strange creatures now, they would no longer stop. They would just slow down until the creature left, then keep going. What was even more strange was that one time, one of the creatures suddenly appeared and jumped toward Zhou Zihong. But just as it was about to touch her, it suddenly let out a terrifying scream and desperately ran away. The 3 of them weren't dumb, so they grew suspicious about what was going on. They thought about what had happened recently and immediately understood that the answer lied with Wang Lin. But besides Zhou Zihong, who once opened her mouth as if she wanted to say something, the other 2 just pretended that nothing was going on. It was not that they didn't want to ask, but because they couldn't. If they accidentally offended Wang Lin, they would lose their lives here. The disciple named Lin Tao's eyes lit up with his back toward Wang Lin. He seemed to be planning something, but his expression soon returned to normal. Seeing that they were close to the closest transfer array, the amount of nearby cultivators increased. Their goal was the transfer array before them. Wang Lin had already used his divine sense to scout the area. There were some people gathered around the transfer array. They are all waiting for the transfer array to open. A screen of white light surrounded the transfer array to protect it. Outside the light screen floated a large number of mummified bodies. They all belonged to people who wanted to leave through the transfer array. There were wandering souls moving in and out of the mummified bodies. The transfer arrays in the foreign battleground are all normally closed. They only open at certain times. There were still 2 more days until it was time for them to open. The people nervously stared at the wandering souls inside the transfer array. Every time there was any movement, they panicked. But gradually, they realized that the strange creatures only wandered outside the transfer array. They didn't dare to touch the transfer array's shield. As people noticed this, everyone inside the formation let out a breath. While flying, Wang Lin was startled for a moment. One of his neighbors told him that the 2 he was looking for were already dead, and that their bags of holding were being sent over by wandering souls. Shortly after, a wandering soul with 2 horns appeared in the distance. Zhou Zihong and them didn't mind at first, but as the wandering soul got closer and closer, they looked toward Wang Lin. The wandering soul stopped before them. It shook its body and threw 3 bags of holding into Wang Lin's hands. After the wandering soul did of all this, it quickly turned around and left. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he stared at the wandering soul. He said, "Stop!" The wandering soul stopped. Its body trembled as it turned around and looked at Wang Lin. Wang Lin didn't even look at Zhou Zihong's group as he moved next to the wandering soul. Wang Lin had devoured a lot of wandering souls. If not 10,000, at least 8,000. Although he didn't keep track that well, he noticed that there was something strange about this wandering soul. The wandering souls that Wang Lin devoured before were more like divine sense with life. They had minimum intelligence, and only knew how to devour everything. But the wandering soul before him was clearly different. Its divine sense was a mess, as if the souls it devoured weren't digested and had left very deep scars. After these marks accumulated to a certain degree, it caused this wandering soul to change. Wang Lin's eyes lit up after carefully looking at it for a long time. When he looked at this wandering soul, he felt the same feeling as when he saw Situ Nan's nascent soul. It can be said there was something similar between the two. Wang Lin's right hand pointed at Lin Tao. He ordered, "Kill him!" Leo's birthday has passed. Thank you all for your blessings, your praise. Leo will continue to strive, producing increasingly captivating chapters. Brothers, keep your sharp tongues sheathed, stored away carefully. You are listening to a completely free audiobook on the Leo Audio YouTube channel. If you enjoy the story, please like the video to motivate the channel. Support Leo with a cup of coffee through the description link or on the screen. If you want to hear any other stories, just comment and let Leo know. Thank you very much for watching the video. Chapter 1225, Breaking Fingers. While charging, the ring Wang Lin got from Pang Dekai shined and rays of light surrounded him. The light rotated rapidly, forming a storm around Wang Lin. Wang Lin charged at the giant palm made of the seven-colored realm. Master Cloud's soul hesitated a bit, then he clenched his teeth and charged after Wang Lin. As for the old woman in green, she was too injured. Without thinking, she flew up in an attempt to avoid the palm. The palm formed by the entire seven-colored realm rumbled as the 5 fingers closed in. It wanted to completely crush Wang Lin. This scene shocked the world. The 5 fingers formed by the mountains came from 5 directions and pressed down. The entire sky was occupied by the mountains. It was a shocking moment. The quickest was the pinky finger of the palm. Before it even got close, there were already bursts of wind. This wind was very powerful. It was as if the world would collapse under it and all life would perish. In the wind, the old woman that was already seriously injured became deathly pale. However, she struggled to fly higher in an attempt to escape the palm. She knew that the target of this unimaginable palm was Wang Lin. As long as Wang Lin died, it should calm down. At this point, she no longer dared to even think about leaving this 7-color realm. The only thought in her mind was to survive. No matter what, she had to survive. As long as I can last until that person named Lu dies, I can live. The old woman's green robe was stained with blood. She struggled in the wind to fly higher. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with battle intent as he saw the pinky closing in. The finger was incomparably large and almost covered half the sky. At this moment, it bent down toward Wang Lin. I wonder if this person is the sovereign. His wants me to escape, but why should I escape and how can I escape? I might as well fight. Wang Lin laughed as the star made of law rotated and his left hand pointed at the sky. Black wind suddenly filled the sky. This black wind was very dense, enough to completely cover the sky. There were 6 dragons roaring inside it that immediately charged at the pinky. The moment the 6 black dragons appeared, a 7th black dragon appeared inside the black wind. Originally, with Wang Lin's cultivation level, 6 was his limit, but with the star made of law, he was able to break the limit and call out the 7th dragon. The 7 black dragon carried a cold energy that could extinguish life toward the pinky finger. If pinky finger was the towering mountain, then the 7 black dragons were the celestial dragons that would smash the mountain down. They wouldn't give up until the mountain collapsed. A thunderous rumble echoed across the world as a huge impact scattered like crazy. Not only did Wang Lin not retreat from this shockwave, he closed in and pointed at the sky. As the black dragons continued to smash into the mountain and collapsed one by one, a cold energy appeared. It contained a sticky feeling, and in a flash, countless flashes of light appeared. Then drops of rain instantly formed. The moment the raindrops appeared, endless origin energy condensed, stirred up the wind, and fused with the raindrops. An extreme aura suddenly enveloped the area. The moment Wang Lin waved his left hand, these raindrops shot out like swords and charged toward the palm below. Cracking sounds echoed as white frost appeared on the surface of the palm, and in the blink of an eye, ice appeared. In particular, the pinky finger was hit by most of the raindrops. The frost swept over it, and it was wrapped in inks. The ice didn't stop here but immediately burst open. This wasn't due to the power of the palm, but the ability of summon the rain. Before Wang Lin's cultivation level increased, this change would not have appeared. However, after his cultivation level increased, and with the stimulation of the battle domain, this drastic change to summon the rain occurred. After the rain was ice, and after the ice was collapse. The power of the ice would cause the target to collapse, creating an attack far more powerful than just ice. Sounds of the ice collapsing echoed across the seven-colored realm. The palm with 5 fingers shook, but didn't stop at all. It immediately came crashing down. Even the pinky only shook a bit, regardless of how much the black dragons or the ice collapse attacked it. Wang Lin's eyes were bloodshot. After using ice collapse, he didn't stop. He waved his left hand and opened his mouth. The celestial sealing stamp flew out and a large amount of battle souls appeared, but not the All-Seer's soul. The rest all followed Master Void and charged toward the pinky with mournful cries. Wang Lin was already going all out. After he used magic arsenal, his left hand formed a seal as he pointed at the ground and shouted, "Mountain crumbles!" The entire earth trembled as 5 majestic volcanoes formed before Wang Lin, the fire inside them raging. Although they were illusions, the mountains continued to crumble. Also at this moment, countless strands of slaughter energy charged out of his body. This was all the slaughter energy he had absorbed from the gray-robed All-Seer. The slaughter energy condensed into a red sword and shot toward the pinky that was closing in, along with all his other spells. All of this happened in a flash. All of them appeared as the 5 fingers closed in. At this moment, black wind filled the sky. The black dragons roared. Rain was everywhere. Ice collapsed. Battle souls roared and even self-destructed. Mountain crumbles formed a monstrous force. And there was slaughter energy in the air. All of this became an extremely powerful spell, and it shot toward the pinky. The 6 volcanoes immediately overlapped with the pinky, and there was an earth-shattering rumble. The 7 black dragons collided with the pinky and exploded. The rain continued to form ice that continued to collapse. Endless battle souls closed in and suddenly exploded, creating powerful impacts. The sword made of slaughter energy stabbed into the finger and shattered into countless strands of slaughter energy. A large amount of slaughter energy rushed inside the finger. The earth shook enough for Master Cloud's soul to cough out blood and the origin soul of the old woman in green to almost collapse. This heaven-shaking rumble echoed across the realm. The pinky formed by the mountain suddenly collapsed. As cracking sounds echoed, countless cracks appeared as the upper part of the pinky finger exploded, creating a storm that scattered in all directions. Wang Lin's face turned pale, and he coughed out blood. The light protecting him shattered, and Pang De Kai's ring shattered. Wang Lin's body was immediately thrown backward. Master Cloud's soul was behind Wang Lin. With Wang Lin in front, the pressure he suffered decreased a lot. However, his origin soul trembled, all the meridians in his body shattered, and his bones all broke. He became a bloody mess. The old woman in green was far away and therefore wasn't affected by the shockwave much. She had been flying up, so she had escaped by sheer luck, but the shockwave still almost caused her body to collapse. She originally thought that she had escaped this calamity and felt lucky, but soon her expression changed greatly. She wanted to retreat, but it was too late as the index finger moved at an incredible speed and collided with her. The old woman in green's body became a blood mist. Her origin soul struggled to escape, but as Wang Lin retreated, he waved his sleeve and captured her origin soul. The palm made of the 7-colored realm had 5 fingers, and now half a finger was missing. However, the pinky that was broken in half didn't dissipate, but absorbed the origin energy of the world like crazy, and it was rapidly reforming. Once this half a finger reformed, all of Wang Lin's effort would be in vain. At this moment of crisis, Wang Lin's eyes were filled with battle intent and madness. He charged toward the index finger that had swept past the old woman. He had to be fast as the other 3 fingers were closing in as well. He can imagine that once all the fingers closed in, the palm formed a fist, he would have no chance of survival. He had encountered countless crises in his life, but the person who was causing the crisis was the strongest one he had ever faced. When the index finger closed in, Wang Lin's left hand reached at the void and Master Ashenpine's pseudo-nirvana void treasure. The crystal sword appeared. He spat out blood onto the crystal sword to draw out its full potential and then threw it at the index finger. The crystal sword immediately released a heaven-shaking sword hymn and a monstrous sword energy. It was shrouded in sword energy as it shot toward the index finger. Pseudo-nirvana void treasures were extremely rare in the sealed realm. These were treasures with great power. At this moment, the sword charged out with the power to cut the heavens and instantly collided with the index finger. A thunderous rumble echoed. Before this rumble, Wang Lin's roar seemed a bit lacking, but it caused the crystal sword to release an even more powerful attack. "Sword, shatter!" The moment Wang Lin spoke, the crystal sword suddenly collapsed, forming an unimaginable shockwave that caused the index finger to pause. He didn't have time to feel his heart ache as his left hand waved outside his storage space, and a treasure flew out. The same pseudo-nirvana void aura spread out. There was still one more pseudo-nirvana void treasure inside Master Ashenpine's storage space. It was a blue battle axe. This axe was refined by some unknown method, and had a large amount of seals on it. Leo truly didn't realize today was May 20th. Leo's already married, not caring about this day at all. Truly no intention. Truly no intention. I'm already married. Yes, just like that. CHIRP, CHIRP, CHIRP. Chapter 1226. Are you the sovereign? Now Wang Lin took it out and covered it in blood before it shot out as a ray of green light at the index finger. The index finger was more powerful than the pinky. The crystal sword collapsed the moment it made contact and created a powerful shock wave in the sky. However, it only caused the finger to pause for a moment and not crack. However, the moment it paused, the green light closed in and the axe swept by, landing on the finger. Under Wang Lin's control, the battle axe released a destructive aura. Popping sounds echoed as all the seals on the axe were released and its destructive aura was unleashed. Thunderous rumbles echoed across the world once more. In this battle, Wang Lin had used almost everything, all his spells and 2 pseudo-nirvana void treasures. The rumbles echoed even louder, and an impact even more powerful than when the pinky finger collapsed, scattered. Master Cloud's soul's body could no longer withstand it anymore, and exploded. His origin soul flew out, looking miserable, confused, and bleak. The index finger at the center of the impact still didn't collapse, but there were countless cracks on it. The finger mercilessly pressed down on Wang Lin. At this moment, the sky seemed to be replaced by the index finger. Seeing the index finger closing in, Wang Lin let out a roar and the madness in his eyes became even stronger. There was a flash of light and the ancient god furnace appeared. The ancient god furnace was one of 2 ancient god treasures he possessed. It was a treasure personally refined by 2C. For Wang Lin, it was something he couldn't fully control and was more profound than it looked. However, at this moment of life and death, Wang Lin was going all out. If I die, what use is a treasure? I don't believe I can break that index finger? As Wang Lin roared, the ancient god furnace seemed to turn solid around him and collided with the index finger. There was a thunderous bang and Wang Lin felt like he was hit by a cultivation planet. He coughed out blood. His face was pale and he was seriously injured. The ancient god furnace trembled violently as it was pushed into the ground along with Wang Lin's body. "Collapse for me!" Wang Lin's body suddenly stopped, and he stopped himself from sinking more. The other 3 fingers also replaced the sky and descended like crazy. Wang Lin's expression was ferocious, revealing madness along with a heaven-defying will. He had lived a life of danger, and the more dangerous it became, the more unyielding he became. Both in life and death, he would be a hero. The moment Wang Lin said collapse, the ancient god furnace released a thunderous rumble. As it rotated, a heaven-shaking aura charged out and formed a storm. The ancient god furnace collapsed inside the storm and charged at the index finger. The thunderous rumble caused Wang Lin's origin soul to tremble, and his mind took some damage. The mighty index finger suddenly collapsed. It wasn't like the pinky finger that only half collapsed, but completely collapsed into rubble. Wang Lin's mind was weak, but his battle intent became even more intense. He was pushed back by the collapse and he wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He collected Master Cloud Soul's dying origin soul in the middle of this collapse. At this moment, he was the only living person in the seven-colored realm. This spell sent in from the outer realm that turned the seven-colored realm into a palm with 5 fingers had 2 fingers broken. However, even the completely shattered finger absorbed origin energy like crazy and was recovering at a rapid rate. Wang Lin didn't have time to think. If he wanted to leave the seven-colored realm, he had to risk it all. The remaining 3 fingers continued to close in, and the thunderous rumbles echoed in his ears. The fingers bent as if they were the heavens that would destroy all life and charged Wang Lin. Wang Lin was breathing heavily. He had used all his spells and treasures. The star formed by his Tao rotated rapidly and his body was surrounded in battle intent. As the 3 fingers closed in, the strongest thumb was a bit slower, but the middle and ring fingers arrived almost at the same time. Wang Lin couldn't face 2 fingers at the same time. He threw the trident he had been holding with a roar, and it flew at the ring finger. With the trident blocking the ring finger for a moment, Wang Lin charged at the middle finger. His figure moved like a meteor, and the star of law between his eyebrows rapidly rotated. Blue flames suddenly surrounded his body and more blue flames appeared at the roots of his white hair. It soon swept across his hair until the tip. If someone looked from a distance, they would clearly see that the giant palm was holding a sea of fire. At the center of the fire was an upright figure. It was the unyielding Wang Lin. The moment this fire began to burn, endless thunderbolts rushed out like silver snakes. The thunder moved within the fire and also between the fingers, causing crackling sounds. More and more thunder appeared and completely surrounded the palm. It created a beautiful scene. In this scene, a giant palm was holding a blue fire while being surrounded by a net of thunder. This would be an unforgettable scene for anyone who saw it. Inside the blue flames, the star of law between Wang Lin's eyebrows flashed violently. The sea of fire around him shot out toward the middle finger. It was very fast and instantly collided with the middle finger. The moment they collided, the blue flames around Wang Lin gathered like crazy in his hand and then shot out at the middle finger. It was as if Wang Lin had launched a monstrous fire at the middle finger and began a life and death battle. Either the finger collapsed or Wang Lin would die. There was no retreat. He had to give it his all. The blue flames charged at the middle finger like crazy. Wang Lin's face was pale and blood came out of the corner of his mouth. He was personally confronting the middle finger, and he felt the power inside it. It was enough to make his body tremble and rapidly sink. "I will not resign to this!" Wang Lin's angry roar echoed across the seven-colored realm. He wouldn't resign himself to this fate. He had just devoured the Tao fruit, causing his cultivation level to increase greatly, and saving himself tens of thousands of years to step into the Nirvana Shatterer stage. Just as he was about to leave the seven-colored realm, he was faced with a life and death crisis. He wouldn't resign to this. As he roared, the monstrous thunder gathered like crazy and shot at the middle finger along with the blue flames. The thunderous rumbles now were even more intense than before, and large amounts of cracks appeared in the sky. These cracks were immediately ripped open and expanded the moment they appeared. Although these rumbles were loud, they couldn't cover up Wang Lin unyielding words. "I won't resign myself to this." The star made of law between Wang Lin's eyebrows rotated even faster. As the fire and thunder bombarded the finger, the power sealed by Wang Lin exploded forth. This power wasn't extremely strong, but after fusing with fire, thunder, and the battle domain, it formed a new law. It was a law that belonged only to Wang Lin. The moment this law exploded, the space around Wang Lin twisted as if time had overlapped and couldn't mix with the world. This area of distortion became even larger until it enveloped the entire middle finger. Wang Lin let out a roar of madness, and as the distortion from this law appeared, his body stopped sinking. Not only did it not continue to sink, but as Wang Lin's veins swelled, he raised the middle finger and charged into the sky. The twisted ripples surrounded the middle finger. The power of law fused with fire and thunder along with Wang Lin's charge broke the finger. The moment it collapsed, Wang Lin was thrown out and he fell on the ground. He fell on the palm, and his own blood dyed his body. The star made of law between his eyebrows gradually dimmed and hid itself. He was seriously injured, But the moment he landed, Wang Lin kicked off again toward the ring finger. The trident was stabbed into the ring finger, giving Wang Lin a chance, but if he gave up now, all would be for naught. There was only one previous occasion where Wang Lin was this desperate. The first time was his battle against the Ulcer in the Demon Spirit Land. This was his second time in his almost 2,000 years of cultivation. A tragic aura came from Wang Lin's body. His face was without blood, and while he was seriously injured, his battle intent didn't weaken. Instead, it seemed even more fierce. Some people were born for battle, born for slaughter, born to defy the heavens. Wang Lin was this kind of person. After he fused with Xianxia's battle domain, Wang Lin became even more like this. Life is precious and should be cherished, but I am not afraid of death. However, I must die with dignity and self-worth. Wang Lin let out an earth-shattering laugh that would even frighten ghosts. Even this mysterious existence that had remained unfazed for countless years was slightly moved. If you can survive the power of the palm, I want to kill you. A weary voice echoed across the world. Are you the sovereign of the outer realm? Wang Lin flew into the air and charged at the ring finger. This old man is from the high ancient Blue Silk clan. Blue Dream Dao Master. Leo continues to read. Today is Monday, wishing for just a few more likes and followers for the VIDEO channel.